Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun. I am in agony right now. I am in complete fucking pain. Ow! Fuck! What's happened? Ow! Oh god, it's all swelled up. Ah! I left my bathroom. Like, alright. And just how my house is set up slightly. I was going around the corner to get back to my desk, and I just slammed as hard as physically possible my pinky toe straight into my closet. Just a fucking kick. Just right in there, right in the goddamn foot. It is agonizing pain. It's all swelled up now. You are officially dead. Yeah, exactly. It's like getting a paper cut. It's the worst in pain imagined. Yeah, that sounds awful. Yes, it is awful. And it's like, oh god, I can feel it swelling right now. I probably bruised it. It's gonna be fun. I do that every now and again, where you know when you're just walking, it's such a minor thing to do. It's not like, oh, I broke my arm. Oh, I did. No, it's the unimaginable pain never comes from that. Oh no, it's doing something really minor. Like slamming your pinky in the doorway or something. Had that happen before. I'll say it's not even as bad as getting hit by a car. Like that, honest to God, I would rather get hit by the car again. Because I did get hit by a car once. Yeah, that was, I still talk to my one friend about getting hit by a fucking car. That was fun. Right? Oh, God. Ugh. That sounds painful. Were you at least wearing good boots or something? Like, that to me, like, that would be the worst than anything. It's not even like, oh, God. See, it's not even like, oh, well, you've broke your leg or something. Like, no, it's like you break your foot. Like, it's just over. Like, you just don't have fun anymore. It's like, okay, good night, I'm dead. Like, you get the boot on, like, I will never leave this. That was, like, the bad thing, because my mother, we still have no idea. We've consulted doctors on this, and we still have no idea how she did it. But she was walking home one day, and her ankle broke. We have no idea. There's, like, a bone in her foot that just snapped in half. We have no idea. We have no concept of why it happened. But yeah, picture that was a fucking sight of me having to like get my mom all the way back home. Because we were walking and I don't have a car, so it was like, oh, like it was literally me like trying to get it because she was like, okay, I'm going. Like, it was ridiculous the way we were doing things. It was not a good sight. It was kind of a fucking mess because she has steps to go back up to her apartment. So it was like, okay, we don't know because we didn't know what was happening. So it was like, oh, well, we can get up there and like, it's not like I could like walk her up the steps even. No, I had to be like behind her as she like one step. It was a miserable experience. And that was yeah, no, that was not fun. Again, the only bone I've broken is my arm, technically. That is the only thing I've ever broken. And the amusing thing with me breaking my arm is that nobody realized I had broke my arm for about 2 days because we were at Boy Scout camp. The only reason anybody really found out was that I looked down at my arm one night at camp and it was about twice the size of the other arm. I'm like, something doesn't feel right, because I couldn't grip anything in it. And they're like, huh, Notepad, that looks a little bit wrong. And I'm like, yeah, it does look wrong. And I remember, like, the one scoutmaster looked over being like, oh, fuck, I think you broke your arm, kid. I'm like, you think so? Just completely just blown up. Yeah, it's broke a bone playing a manhunt years ago. Literally my only injury. Because the thing is, you don't realize it. I think that's the funny part. You don't like strictly realize it right away. It's like, it's not even like, oh, the adrenaline's kicking in or something. No, it's like, oh, it's just swollen, like, ooey, ouch, ouchie, ouchie, I'm in pain. But then you think about it for a bit, be like, oh no, I'm in agonizing pain. That's why I say, like, the little injuries are usually the worst, because you don't even have the benefit. Like, you don't even have, like, the benefit of, say, of, like, yeah, they don't trigger adrenaline, and it's like your body's like, you little bitch. So it's like, my bones, my bony wonies. Oh no. Yeah, no, it's, yeah, that's my life. Like, that's the best part. Yeah, I'm generally speaking, like, I've been pretty okay with keeping myself relatively healthy throughout my life. Like, I'm not like what I would call like the most healthy individual in the world, but I've strove forward to not like break bones or get into situations that are like, oh, you're dead, you're just dying now. Have fun, asshole. No. Again, broke my arm. See, the weird thing with my arm breaking was they put it in a cast where we were, because we were just in another town completely. And when I got back home, the fucking doctor looked at it being like, okay, good news, bad news. They told my mom this, mind you, not me. Like, good news, bad news. Good news, his arm's just broken. Bad news, they didn't set the bone correctly. And if they let it healed the way that they had set it the first time, my hand would be at a 90-degree angle, effectively. That would just be like how my hand would have to reform itself. It would be at almost a 90-degree angle. So they're like, oh, okay, here's what we'll do. We will just reset the bone. They didn't tell me this. And if you ever want the most agonizing thing in the world, it's having your bone reset. That is, oh yeah. Mind you, I was like 11, 12 years old at this point. Yeah. Now mind you, here's the thing with that. Here's the thing. I want to set the scene for you. I want to set the scene for everybody here. I'm sitting in the, you are 12. POV, you are, POV, be me, I'm sitting in the doctor's office. And they're talking about stuff, and they're like, okay, we need to fix your arm. I'm like, okay, we got to fix our arm. How are we going to do this? And he's explaining to me a little bit. And the one nurse, and they're like poking with it. I'm like, okay, this is fine. Like, this is completely normal. And then he starts pressing it on a little bit. I'm like, ow, that kind of hurts. If you ever want to see like just pure adrenaline kick in, mind you, nobody else is in the room. It's just the doctor and the nurse. A doctor that wasn't my normal doctor, and a nurse I had never seen before. This was that when we were finally back home. And they're like, oh, okay. She fucking death grips my other hand so I couldn't like reach over for that. They reset the bone. Just clunk, and it was the worst pain I have ever felt. And they're like, okay, it's fixed now. I'm like, you see me just like, ah! Fucking 11-year-old kid screaming, ah! And yeah, no, my mom wasn't in there, my grandma wasn't, nobody was in there. It was just me getting my fucking arm reset. And once I did that, it was over. My arm was fixed. And I even told, this is like every doctor, every dentist, everything I've told in the future, being like, tell me what you're going to do. I'm going to feel 95% more comfortable if I at least know what you're doing. And some dentists have a ball with me because I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And they're like, okay, I'll tell you. We're going to drill into, like, we're going to do this. We're going to remove the cavity. We're going to do this. It's a very slow process the way he's explaining it. I'm fine. I am stone-faced. Life is great. But when they don't explain it to me, like, every single thing in the back of my head starts, like, starts freaking out slightly. I'm like, I don't like what's going on. Like, it's, have you ever had that moment where it's like, oh, everything bad has gone on? That's it. It's the worst. Hello, Manly. How are you? We're talking about horrifying injuries because I hurt my pinky toe. But yeah, today we're going to be working on Eagles and Rifles, a game about Napoleonic linear warfare. There have been some slight changes, and there's been some slight edits here and there. One of the most notable edits, I'd say, one of the most notable ones, was, if I go down here, I changed the idea of blood and men. Now, originally, there was 6 of these. There was line infantry, grenadiers, skirmishers, fusiliers, jaegers, cuirassiers, dragoons, and chasers. There were actually, like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were technically 7 different unit types in the game. I broke that down to only 3 unit types. Line infantry, skirmishers, cavalry. Those are it. And what my goal here is that you're going to be effectively purchasing more equipment for them individually. So if you want to make grenadiers, you're making line infantry with the grenades effectively. You're a lot tougher, you're a lot bigger, but a lot more expensive. Yeah, exactly. Just tell me what you're doing. Like, I'm 95% bet. I am 95% better if you tell me what I'm doing. If you don't tell me what I'm doing, I'm assuming you're trying to lobotomize me. And ever since when I was really young, I went in for a routine checkup one time, and he removed a tooth without telling me, or telling my mom, or telling anybody. He didn't tell anybody. He removed a fucking tooth. Yeah, I remember we damn near sued him. I remember that. That was a fucking nasty experience. He went out of business. Tee, I'm such a Gemini. I've never understood astrology either. If anyone can explain to me how astrology works, I would be great. That'd be Gucci for me. But yeah, so generally speaking, you have the three types of units, 3 genders of fighting men: line infantry, skirmishers, and cavalrymen. Technically, I can bump that up to about 1,500. These are your 3 primary entities. You have some very basic kits. I'll probably like retrofit this to make it a little bit more in lore. But these are also going to determine your initial stats, otherwise known as your maneuver and stamina. Now, maneuver and stamina are a little bit interesting, because maneuver is just how fast you're moving. Stamina is actually the amount of extra actions you can take. That's a very big thing there. It's additional orders, it's additional actions, it's additional things. Yeah, it's pretty much, you can use stamina to do additional things. Now, for cavalry, that's a little different. That makes things a little bit more complicated. Because cavalry, you need to charge in. But if you get stuck in combat with cavalry, you're going to get mulched. You're not going to have a good time. So what you need to do is charge in and then burn stamina to get out. You can recover stamina on the field. It's a lot harder to do such, but you can. And if you need to double time it to a place, that's what you need to do. As you can kind of see, line infantry are pretty slow. You're kind of moving at a very slow pace normally, unless you're in the correct formation or something like that. Which kind of leads to cavalry being able to reposition themselves a lot easier, skirmishers being able to position themselves but having no stamina. The thing with skirmishers, the thing with skirmishers is that you have a lot of you have better equipment overall, but you don't have a lot of stamina by default. You are effectively light infantry. That's the best way to think of what being a skirmisher is. You're a light infantry with a rifle. Kind of leads to this. And I did end up giving for training to give people bonus stamina. I may bump stamina up by 1. I'm kind of debating on that. Actually, I'll put that. So the idea is like, oh, you're veterans. If you're veterans, you get a bonus stamina. You get 4 stamina, 2 stamina, 3 stamina. Doesn't seem like a lot, but that's an extra order. Fire and maneuver? Yes! Astrology people hate me for being born the wrong month. Also, purchasing equipment reminding you of fire and maneuver. I was playing fire and maneuver all fucking month. Not month, all last night. I was playing just endless fire and maneuver skirmishes against AI and stuff, just to kind of get the feel of things. Because today, when I say I'm on that Napoleon Grindset, I'm not lying. I effectively have, what's fire and maneuver? Ever heard of the Armchair General? He does history videos on YouTube. He does, it's they're animated, I guess you would call them. He made a game called Fire and Maneuver. Fire and Maneuver is a war game, you could kind of say. I guess it's like a war game. You kind of see here, this is the artwork for it. This isn't really the artwork though. But effectively, it's a Kriegsspiel game. It's what we would kind of call like a classic Kriegsspiel. You have a limited set of orders, a limited set of troops, and the goal is to rout the enemy. It's to break the enemy, rout the enemy, or just destroy them outright. That's the entire idea. It's a very tactical game. You kind of see, kind of how this looks and stuff. And I was playing a lot of fire and maneuver last night. For a very particular reason. You kind of see this, because fire and maneuver is probably one of the very few games set during this era that I can actually kind of reference easily, because there just really isn't a lot. You can technically play on their, like the game's still jank. Alive still or only AI? I don't really play multiplayer at all. Yeah, it's let me see. So effectively, I wonder if I can find like a good image of the orders. What a good. Okay, so you kind of see like right here, effectively how it would work is like order order 1. It would be like order 1, unit A to tile C. Order 2. Order 2, unit B fires on enemy A or whatever like that. The problem is that your enemy also is doing order 1, enemy A to tile C. They're doing their own thing. So order 1, both orders take place simultaneously. Order 2, both turns take simultaneously. That's one game I was actually consulting quite a bit on it, but the thing is, this is the beautiful thing about Fire and Maneuver, is that there isn't really a lot. The game isn't really designed for, like, the really, like, I would say nitty-gritty of things. It's actually a fairly, I wouldn't say detailed game, but I would say, like, it's a very structured game. It's a very much it does its, like, one thing. I might play that on stream one day just to show people. I could probably, if I get done with the video tomorrow early, I might play some Fire and Maneuver just to show people, kind of like this is what I'm fucking talking about. I might not, kind of depends on what I'm feeling. But generally speaking, this was one game I was consulting to kind of get an idea, and that's what I was kind of looking for as well. The other game that I was looking at was, people may know this, this is Ultimate General, or Ultimate General Civil War, more precisely. You kind of see them right here. This is a Civil War game from the Ultimate General series, which has 2 games, which is Ultimate General Gettysburg and Ultimate General Civil War. There is technically like the American Revolution. You kind of see here, like this is I think the newer one. I think it's new anyway. I don't really know. Yeah, the game is currently in active development, so like technically you can get it. But one of the ideas here in Ultimate General is that, if I can find a good one, is that you're kind of trying to maneuver things around, you're trying to outflank the enemy, and it's very much this exactly the era Eagles and Rifles is kind of trying to replicate, that 1860s or a little bit earlier. There really isn't any Napoleonic War games out there. That sounds kind of funny in a way. Oh, there's no Napoleonic War games. There really isn't. There's Napoleon Total War, and there's Total War games, obviously, but not really anything else that aren't, like, super abstracted. And on the table, it's really fascinating kind of learning, like, oh, what kind of Napoleonic War game? There's a shit ton of Napoleonic War games, and they all are slightly different. Every single one of them are slightly different from one another. You kind of see, this is still the American Revolution one, and how that plays out. Total War. Yeah, Total War is really the only major game that does this, and Total War has its own issues. I mean, like, you can just play it with Darth mod. That has its own issues, trust me. But I was trying to find like a good way of doing it, and I've really come to the conclusion I have two options. I either go with this Ultimate General method, or I go with the Fire and Maneuver method. Now, what do I mean by this? Like, no, Pad, what are you actually talking about? Are you going insane? Effectively, do I want to have a open map, go anywhere, or do I want to have a closed map, structured positions? Now, this is kind of an interesting issue to have here, because it's not like something I can just say, oh, well, I can just do both. That's not really an option. And what do I mean by it's not really an option is, the Go Anywhere map is effectively, I present you the map of how it is. There's no tiles or anything. You're going to be moving 4 inches in any direction of your choice. You want to move 4 inches this direction, you're going to move 4 inches. You want to reposition it this way? Cool. You want to reposition like this? Fine. The structured map, the closed map method is you can advance 3 tiles. 1, 2, 3. You're 3 tiles now to do a thing. You're moving 1, 2, 3 over here. You're moving 1, 2, 3. That's kind of the idea. It's like, do I want a grid or do I want an open map? Both of them have their own drawbacks and both of them have their own advantages. This also does amusingly, mind you, amusingly extend to a lot of different factors. Mostly when it comes to things like weapons. Because if I go with the idea of a closed map, I have to make weapons structured as well. I can't say, oh, well, the weapons is 3 inches long. This gun fires from 3 inches away. That's what I have to do. But then it's like, okay, this 3 inches, yeah, it gets a little bit more like this. But if it's closed map, it's 3 tiles away. And like, what constitutes the right tiles? What constitutes this correctly? And that's why I say it's like we're kind of stuck between this Ultimate General format, which is a lot more open-ended, versus a lot more closed-ended. Both of them are good in their own way, and the very insightful assistance I got was, here, let me bring up the very insightful assistance I received. Let's see, at an impasse, I vote grid because I like skirmish games disguised as RPGs. What would Napoleon do? Then use poker dice. I should use poker dice. And then the one very helpful individual, not naming any names, was like, oh, what would Napoleon do? I'm like, that's not helping me in my current situation. That's not helping me at all. It's like, oh, you were using Kriegspiel dice. I'm like, I already have a system. I just need to know how the fuck I'm moving on the fucking map. So Napoleon would be very bad at like, yeah, it's like a completely like non sequitur that would be like, what the, like, this doesn't really assist me at all. And then they're like, oh, do a trick-taking card game. I'm like, where the fuck does this trick-taking card game come in? I want to know. There's no cards involved. Why are you bringing this up? Like, oh, no, you gotta use phases. The fuck are you fucking on about, you cretin? What the fuck? What? Yeah, it's one of those things where I keep like pausing for a moment and I'm like, what the fuck? Because it's actually a fairly open-ended question that it's going to affect everything. So, what did I find to reference? What was I thinking of? What was I being like, all right, gamers, what's the thing? The answer is nothing. I watched hours of pretty much Napoleonic. It was let me find up. I watched a lot of these like AAR, these after action reports. I like a lot of these, Napoleonic War game, like these fucking after action reports, just to try to get like a good idea of like how things were even like playing out. And it's funny because there like really isn't like a good there really isn't a good way of doing this. Because you get things like in this situation where I don't know if I could find a good one that they were. Where's the one? It was the it was the Civil War one, wasn't it? Yeah. I was like looking up like Civil War, war game AARs. I was looking up like, yeah, here we go. This is Quick Strike. Like, if we go under this idea, like this is a very different look at things, and it's a very different way of like, yeah, I need to have a method for positioning. That's a very different idea. So it's like, how do I even fucking do this? I don't know. That's the funny thing. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. Kind of the hell is so yeah, that's my life right now, trying to figure out like the appropriate way of doing things, and there really isn't a good one. So that's fun, that's cool. So yeah, this is what I've got so far. My idea, the current state of affairs is the hex-based system. Is the hex is the kind of the hex map. And he's using a very structured, very closed map method. The reason for the closed map method is one, it's easier to get a hold of, and you don't need to do like really minute positioning. That is a pretty major advantage, in my opinion anyway. It's a pretty major advantage simply because you don't have to think about having like very specific things, if that makes any remote amount of sense. You don't really have to worry about, oh well, this one's 3 inches away, but no, it's 3.1 inches. I don't gotta worry about that. That was like one thing I had to worry about with Project Sidewinder quite a bit. It was range and distances were a pretty big deal. But on a hex board, so it has its own issues. What did I even assume the hexes to be? Like, fun fact, what did I assume hexes to look like? Formations, cavalry formations, artillery. Terrain type, battlefields are home. I even actually like conceal, which disallows other units. Yeah, I don't even really state like how big a individual hex is. Like, this is just kind of like my basic hex that I like, my basic little map I use for a lot of things. And it's pretty much like any unit can inhabit one hex, so it's kind of like you're moving around. I might change that. I don't know, because I don't really have a good way of like measuring it, because that's not really a thing. Oh boy. That's the So that's what I've been stuck on for the past, like, few fucking days. So, and the thing is, like, I wish there was, like, a really good, like, this is the thing. Like, this is, like, the objectively correct idea. And there really isn't the objectively correct idea here. Because most of the war game, like, if you go, like, Napoleonic war games, a vast majority of these war games are set on the table with open maps. That's just a fact of life with a lot of these games. They are set on open things. Really, it's only things like video games that handle the very precise, you know, like tiles or anything like that. Most everything else is like this, ironically. So I've been trying to figure out, like, Absolute Emperor. I've been trying to figure out, like, the ideal here, which, if you go under the idea that having a, let's take a think. Have a thought, if you would. If we go under the idea of having open maps, you have a lot more freedom of movement. You can go wherever you want, however you want to position. I would need to pretty much say, like, whatever you are moving, you have to be pretty certain about how you want to move. Like, that's going to be kind of just a thing. I would probably say something along the line of 28 millimeter would be best, but you could, in theory, use any size of, you know, unit you wanted to use, because it's not like you're going to be, like, removing, you know, bases or anything like that. So the idea more would be around the idea of moving around. The more men you have, the more it's easier to kind of, like, moving around and such. The issue with that is that you're going to be having to do more. The turn structure would have to be changed, because the turn structure is currently back and forth with phases. With its, if I remember correctly, it's cavalry, skirmishers, line, artillery. That's how the turn structure is, of being able to, like, move and position and shoot and things like that. What would be an ideal way of looking at things? Because if we use the grid, to give you an idea of how desperate I was getting, I was looking at Banner of the fucking Maid. Yeah, I was looking at Banner of the Maid. I'm like, is this going to be the thing I need to reference? Is this what I need to reference? It's not. But fun fact, it's not. Banner of the Maid is the incorrect thing to look at. Have no fear, everybody. It's Banner of the fucking Maid. Because this is what Banner of the Maid maps look like. By sheer technicality, it's like you walk up to an enemy and you hit them with a volley fire, but not really. You don't really hit them with a volley fire, that kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, that's not it. This isn't correct. Banner Maid is Final Fantasy Tactics. Banner of the Maid is Final Fantasy Tactics 10 times more hardcore edition. Because I'm gonna give you a secret. I'm gonna give you all a secret here. Banner of the Maid is a Chinese strategy game. They don't give a fuck. The Chinese do not give a rat's ass about your feelings. They will skull fuck you with their strategy games. If you do not play perfectly, you are screwed. Which I always find very amusing. Because the thing is, like, Fire and Maneuver, they are hex maps. Like, very hex maps. But, like, one thing about them that are a little bit, like, fascinating, you can kind of even see it here. The hex maps are not perfect. You can only move along, like, these square bits. You can't move diagonal on these. That's, like, one weird thing about the game, is that you can't move diagonal. You have to move in, like, very structured way of looking at it. So I'm like, is that the correct way of looking at things? Like, I don't know. That doesn't Feel correct. Because currently, again, it's like this hex map. Like, what do I currently have? Like, yeah, like a lot of these are like orders. Yeah, you got skirmish formation, standard line, to maneuver, cavalry formation. Yeah, you get not kind of, multiple units cannot take up the same space. Yeah, 100 meter. Can also be 100 meters. About 100 meters, so it's like 100. Why did I put that down as 100 meters? Why did I put that down as 100 meters to... What? So it's about 100 meters. Like... Why did I put that down as that? Notepad, what were you thinking? What are you thinking, Notepad? The thing is with fire and maneuver and how it works, you kind of see, if you kind of see the way that it's looked here, it's a little, the way that it's set up can be a little bit odd, because pretty much what you do is like you use the squares to move, and wherever those squares are, it's very funky, because it's like you see sometimes like, oh, I'm facing forward. If you're not facing forward correctly, you can't move to the like left. You can't like move your men in weird directions. So it's like, okay, this is a little bit funky at points, and they don't really explain it, which is a very common thing with fire and maneuver. Very common thing. Fire and maneuver. Hi, how have you been doing today? Did you see my question? I did not see your question. I have been, suffering with this, and I can't figure out the right answer, because it's the thing is, it's like this sole question of whether I want a closed or open map really does change the entire nature of the game. It is a fundamental shift in how everything will be designed. That's why I'm like struggling so much of like, what's the right way of doing this? And people I've asked for assistance, it's like, I don't know. This doesn't make any sense. Don't worry about it. I don't care. Or they look at me being like, well, why do you need to worry about that? It's just one person. It's not, though. You could have upwards of 1,000 people technically. So that's what I'm kind of like. How do I want to do both? That's a physical impossibility. Solid. And when I say by it's a physical impossibility, it's if I go with an open map, the idea of move anywhere you want at any point, I'm going to have to shift firearms to the idea of like very minute changes. Also important, Notepad, what country you used in fire and maneuver? Austria. Glory to the Habsburgs, baby. Take your Russian hordes and go away. My Jaegers will shoot you. But if I go with the idea of like an open map, what I can effectively do there is I have to then shift how guns work a little bit. I'll probably throw in something like even like reloading or something, simply because it does square 8 way to move. Squares don't work as well as I was hoping for, just because of the sheer maneuverability, but also inability to move. So again, it's really much the idea of, do I want to be able to move anywhere I want, or do I want a grid? Both of them are incorrect in their own ways, and both of them do require different approaches to how combat is going to play out, in addition to how movement's going to play out, because movement's very important. I would go with a hex map. Classic war game. Yeah, go for more of the classic war games, maybe. I wonder. It was like Hex and Chit, maybe? Is that there? Have I been looking at the wrong thing, maybe? Like, is that the answer? Hex and Chit, Napoleonic. You can kind of see this is the. Because one of the major ideas is that you are effectively just a battalion. Like, you are not like a very large. Like, how do I. You are not a major force in whatever battle you're being a part of. You are the Ogre Company. You're effectively just a battalion. You are not even. You're a brigade, effectively. You are a single small brigade they've hired to shore up defenses or something. That's the entire idea. And because of that, you have to deal with the issue. Like that, you got to deal with those issues a little bit. Oh, we're doing something good when we see a pit crew. Hell yeah, pit crews, baby. The fuck is this good? Who are you? What are you? Earlier post. Flag of Victory. Napoleonic hex rules get a run on. We played a game of Neil Thomas Napoleonic rule. Neil Thomas Napoleonic using the adaptations of Ultrauser. Neil Thomas Napoleonics. Napoleonic War Games. Thomas. This what I'm looking for? No, that's not it. Flag of Victory. Because, yeah, this is a hex. You know we're getting desperate when we have to look at the weird, obscure forms. History players strongly recommend that if you purchase starting point, revise this rule, fan-generated rule version. Yeah, no, you're looking to go for the war game market. Why not make it an RPG you play as a war game? Like, it's that's kind of the idea. The idea is effectively you are playing as the commanders, as the individuals, the commandants of an ogre company. You are men who have taken up arms and service for coin and country, effectively. You fight like hell, and you have to deal with the management of kind of the more social scale, which is your soldiers. You know, you kind of have a weird relationship with other people. You're outside of, you know, kind of the military structure a little bit. You're allowed to do things. You're allowed to interact with people. You have that, quote, visual novel, that social game going on because you're human beings. You also have this war game aspect of dramatic men. You know, it's Iron Men and Iron Ships kind of thing. You're dramatic people being dramatic and even on and off the battlefield. Otherwise known as, I just want to play fucking sharp. And you may be wondering, why don't you just use Honor and Duty for that? Honor and Duty doesn't really do war game stuff. So it's like, okay, maybe I want to do something here. That's kind of that was the entire idea for it at its core. That was kind of like the baseline of Eagles and Rifles was, what if we just play sharp? I just want to play sharp with it being legally distinct. Okay. So, lances and hordes. rifles, muskets, carbines. Carbines have a really short range in this. Poor Ottomans get dabbed on by everybody. The Ottomans lose to everybody. The end. Always remember that, kids. Like, if there's ever any story you ever need to learn about human history, always know that the Ottomans have lost already. Just understand that the Ottomans have lost the war before it began. Like, that is human history in a nutshell. So I wouldn't be completely out of line by doing this. Okay. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it, we're doubling down. We're doing hexes. Okay, we'll use hexes. Okay, so we're using hexes. We gotta understand what we're doing. The maps aren't gonna be massive, but they don't need to be massive. So we're going to keep the stamina as... Actually, no, we're going to bump stamina up by 1, I think. If we bump stamina up by 1, that may say, like, oh, cavalry have four additional actions. That's cavalry has 4 additional actions, but they have the least amount of soldiers. If you get a good volley off on cavalry, they may break. They are just going to leave, because you have just fewer men. Cavalry are probably the, like, least hardy characters in the actual fighting units in the game, because they just have less men. If we do this, the cost here works fine. Cohesion and courage. I'm gonna make an assumption. I mean, I guess we can probably do something like, because pretty much what I do with this is I double it each time. Because if we double this each time, so it would be 20, 40, 80, 160. Unbreakable, literally, you're not really supposed to get unbreakable right away, because cohesion is kind of valuable. You kind of see over here. I did fix this up, by the way, just kind of giving everyone a little bit more idea of, like, this is how this kind of works. Guns, guts, and glory and equipment. Okay. We use hexes. We don't plan on having, like, a massive amount of hexes. So, I'm gonna have to reference this later. You know, referring to the range chart, each weapon's range value correlates to the distances read as such. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put the range chart up above just to make sure people understand of kind of the value of... We're going to put the range chart up here, because I want to give people the idea of, like, these are valuable. You know, having decent range does mean quite a lot. So if we do something like this, if we do something like this, can we... Because the idea behind this is, except long range, 5 up. Actually, it'd be long. Actually, we'll do extreme, long, medium, short, point blank. You are 2 up or 4 up. You are 3 up. Now, what do I mean by the DC value here? Effectively, every time you're going to be making an attack, anytime I need to roll to hit, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be... Oh, God. We fought the Turks like an endless amount of time. Lights on. Ottomans lost to everything. Also, Notepad, I need 1 to 3 players, so do you... so who do you Crewists to behave themselves in a play-by-post. I don't fucking know. Let's see. Not that the time the Frenchies, the Anglos fucked helped them, though. We fought the Ottomans once. We lost 32 men. We fought Turks like an end. Yeah. The Russians have been fighting the Turks forever, but the Russians have also been fighting themselves longer. Let's be honest with ourselves here. So, kind of one of the ideas of making an attack roll is I'm within range, you're within range. Let's say I'm medium range from you. I'm going to, and let's say I'm going to be rolling 6d6. This is kind of a shitty roll, to be honest. So you're going to be taking that, you're going to roll, and I scored 1, 2, 3 hits. I scored 3 hits on you. You're going to take 3 damage. Doesn't seem like a lot now, does it? But let's say, for example, I'm flanking you, we've got a bunch of different bonuses going on. Let's say you have an intensity scale of 3. That 3 damage now is 9 damage. You've taken 9 casualties. That doesn't seem like a lot, but that's also a lot. That's men that aren't there anymore, especially if you're dealing with cavalry with things like 50 men. That's almost a fifth of your men gone in a single burst. And again, 6d6 is pretty low. So you want to get into like this optimal like short range. So if you get in like short range or point blank, you are able to click a button and have them explode. They die. We put this here. We put this here, but then we do starting equipment. We'll do starting equipment here. So first thing for how do we want to word this? When a unit is first created, when a unit is first created during Ogre Company creation. Units first created during Ogre Company creation. They will begin with. See, when a unit is first created during Ogre Company creation, they will begin with all of their starting equipment, based on their unit type. This allows the unit to have some basic equipment, for their first foray, into combat situations. Any soldier, if I can fucking type, any soldier needing to be replaced will need to have the RQ cost. We'll need to have the RQ cost recouped as well. Can't recruit soldiers without giving them a gun. So it's kind of the idea of like, you need to pay, you don't get these back. So it's like, actually want to do certain weapon. Actually, no, we'll do certain weapons will be considered starting weapons. These. Let's hit every wrong button. There we go. Certain weapons will be starting weapons. So we'll do something like this. We just want to paste this right here, which we're gonna do with these ones. We're gonna be doing, it's gonna be muzzle loaded, gonna be a standard muzzle loading musket, a rifled muzzle loading musket, and horse pistols. With the rifle muzzle loaded, we're going to be reducing the range to something like this. Actually, no, we do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do something like that. pretty much rifles, anything rifled is going to be pretty decent. And we're going to actually do rifled muzzle-loading muskets are going to have bayonets. It's going to be their starting equipment. It's going to be starting firearms. We're going to do starting melee weapons. Starting melee weapons. Starting, this melee weapons range. We obviously do not need to worry about range at all. RQ cost per soldier, which we're down here. We're going to be picking up sabers. That's all we need to worry about, because you're always going to have a saber on you, not much else. Welcome aboard, you're playing the cavalry. Cavalry. Bayonets. Technically I should put bayonets on there. Bayonets, attachment. Technically, I should put bayonets, which is going to be attachment gory. Yeah, there we go. The trade here is going to be a little bit unique. Technically, if you want to, you can. I should put. Technically, if you really want to, you can put bayonets on just about anything if you want to. I cannot stop you from doing this. But if you want to put bayonets on just about anything, you can. Technically, that's how that works. So if you want to bayonet your rifles, go for it. It's gonna cost you a lot, but you can do it. I'm saying you can't. Technically what I should do is starting, charge bonus. Technically we do the charge bonus. We put another one. We'll do a stamina bonus. Unit type is literally just going to be cavalry. We do that, and we're going to what would be, we would do chaser. We'll do chasers. We're going to do 1 point. We'll do pretty much just 1 RQ per soldier. It's very expensive. Actually, we'll do 0.5. They're very expensive to kind of outfit. Charge bonus is going to be a plus 2d6. Stamina bonus is going to be a plus 1. Cavalry, and they get no traits. So yeah, effectively, if you want to get brand new horses, you're gonna have to buy them. So here's what our starting equipment's gonna look like. Here's some basic ideas there. Don't really need to. We can probably do something like this to kind of make that prettier, maybe. Or we keep it like this. Don't know. Not gonna think about it. So. Why is Saber not going to split your head in half? Just put some bayonets on horse pistols on all of them. Shoot, then throw. Use bayonets as bullets. Artillery, let's go. Yeah, technically, if you have the bayonet trait, you have the bayonet on your weapon. That's all that means. And you can freely use it. So if you want our men in on the artillery to actually have some melee defense, give them some bayonets. It's gonna be expensive, but you can technically bayonet all their guns. The idea behind gory is you technically get a pretty nasty. They take a morale penalty as long as you are in combat. That's all gory does. Gory gives you a morale penalty. Sabers give you the damage bonus. That's kind of the trade-off there. Bayonet on the cannon itself. Yeah, technically there's nothing saying you can't put a bayonet on the cannon itself. Except you got to remember this: you don't control cannons in this game. I made a kind of a point that you cannot play like an artillery commander, because. Yeah, well, you'll get a morale penalty if a horse strides by you and John gets halved. Yes. Because you gotta think about it like this, Manly. If you were if you were riding chasers, effectively light cavalry, plus if you have sabers, that's a plus 3d6 damage. Now, let's play a little game here. Now, let's say, for example, I've got my dice here. Got my. I don't know. Let's say I've got my dice here. So, I have sabers, 1d6. I'm on chasers, 2d6. Let's say I have a shock of 4. My cavalrymen got a shock of 4. That's currently we're at 7d6. Now let's say I, the commander, have a shock of 3. 3. Okay. Currently I'm rolling 10d6, and Melee is 2 up. Let's see how much damage I do on the first hit. Huh, look everybody, I've hit you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've hit you 8 times. If I'm hitting you from the rear, I've technically done maybe 24 damage to you, and then I get to go again because I can just use an action to run away. Yeah, that's the value of that. Because the thing is with like bayonets, the idea behind like being able to like a bayonet fight is you are kind of getting stuck in, and they're doing bayonet stuff to you as well. That's kind of the issue. It's like, yeah, you're getting bayoneted as well. Artillery maybe. Like, if you don't make it, heavy horse charges devastate, I swear to God. The original cuirassiers, otherwise known as the heavy cavalry, got a 5d6 charge bonus. They rolled 5d6 more, and that's on a basic charge. If you got a good charge in with heavy cavalry, you will cripple the enemy, because they're gonna break. They're gonna run like hell, especially if they're already kinda not doing too hot. You sweep in there, it's Jover. The thing is, you just didn't get a lot of stamina with them, and that's how I kind of want to... Yeah, that's kind of the idea. You know what I should do? I should technically give you a 0 stamina. You get 0 bonus stamina. Because the other... Actually, if I give you a lot of bonus stamina, you can do a bunch of different actions. Dragoon's going to get +1, Cuirassiers are going to get +0. Because they're not supposed to be like really stamina-prone horses. They're supposed to be the idea of you charge in there. And if they... You need to break them first before you even try, because they're going to be rolling probably something like 66. So, firearms dominate the battlefield. Mark you count damage bonus. Difficulty is D6 right at the fire check. We don't need the starting firearms anymore, so we're going to do... I do plan on having a... Actually, if I want to do this right, and who do I think could behave themselves in a play-by post? I have no goddamn clue. Yeah, let's Scribble. He might know. Talk to Scribble. Scribble's a trustworthy fellow. If I do this, you can... Table properties gonna get rid of you because I don't give a shit. There we go. So yeah, pretty much the basic infantry equipment. Okay, so here's what I plan on doing. Here's the game plan. Here's the game plan. So we're gonna break down all the weapons into major categories. We're gonna be doing muzzle loaders. Gonna be muzzle loading, breech loading. Actually, it should be breech loader. It's gonna be muzzle loader, breech loader. Actually, no, it'll be muzzle loaded. Actually, no, we could do muzzle breech, needle lever, needle lever. So, if we want to do this, hello, phone. So these are our basic infantry firearms. So if we do if we're doing a breech loaded musket, that's our basic idea. If we're doing a muzzle loaded musket, We want the idea that these ones cannot do extreme shots. They can't really pull those off. You can do long shots, but it's very restrictive. You aren't moving fast, and taking those longer shots mean you're not really doing it as effective. Well, yeah, I can only carry an armored man. Scribbles are alright, don't dunk on Scribbles. I will always dunk on Scribbles. He's in the jar, he will never leave the jar. So if we want to do this correct, pretty much breech loaders are going to get a 1d6 bonus. Muzzle-loaded muskets are the cheapest. They are the absolute dirt cheapest things you can get. Because they're smooth bore, they're simple and cheap. To give you an idea, they are 0.1 per soldier. 0.1. So that means you can buy 10 of them. If you need to outfit 10 soldiers, it costs you 1 RQ. 1 for 10 of these guns. They're very cheap to get a hold of. Very easy. That's fine. That's very good, actually. But here's the thing. Here's what we're going to do now. We're going to select all these, and we're going to hit third column below. Breech loaded, actually I should say smooth bore. Smooth bore. And then we're going to do a breech loaded rifled musket. Muzzle loaded rifled musket. These ones we're going to increase the range by 1. So it's going to be 5. It's going to actually, we can probably do, no, we're going to do 5 for, maybe we can do 5, so if we do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Like, you are a lot more reliable in hitting with these. The breech loaded still are just going to get the 1d6 because you're firing faster. That's kind of the idea with the breech loaders, is that you are firing a lot faster, you're firing a lot more efficient, you have better range than people with not. However, there comes a catch. There's a very big catch here. The price is effectively doubled. Probably even make it, you can probably even triple it. So it's kind of like that. So to outfit 10 soldiers, we'll give you to outfit 10 soldiers with muzzle-loaded rifled muskets, it's now 3 RQ. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you need to outfit hundreds of soldiers, it's going to add up. You pretty much trading in the range, but not for much else. That's the entire idea. Actually, I should add in the rifle. Actually, half of me wants to put this in as something different. Half of me wants to put that in something different. Yeah, so because the idea behind, if we do the fire and maneuver, faction unit, advanced concept guide, tell me more. Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Cause it's impossible to tell me what's going on with your fucking traits, cause the game has a terrible idea of not telling you. The game has this terrible fucking idea of like never telling you some things. Perk list, shock. Okay, shock, where was it? Breech loading, conduct 2 fire orders the same turn, rifling with +1 range. Okay, we don't need to worry about that. So, if we do this, we're doing this correct. Is +1d6 a lot of damage? It's, the idea behind, like, oh, +1d6 damage, effectively that adds another die to your roll for how many hits you've generated. Which, the idea there is, let's say, for example, I need to hit you. If a really bad roll might be like 4d6. The bad roll might be something like 4d6, and I need to hit you on a 3-up. So I roll, and it's like, oh, I've hit you once. You've taken 1 casualty, 1 fortitude, 1 man has gone down, pretty much. It's not a lot. But if you add in a bunch of bonuses together, especially when it comes to like damage bonuses and things, you roll a lot, and it's like, oh, I've scored, you know, we gotta do 4 up again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I still rolled like shit, so I might roll a lot more successes. It's pretty much like damage is gonna help you mulch the enemy faster. So even like a plus 1d6 is quite a lot. That's why like the charge bonus of 2d6 is pretty big. Cavalry's all in. You gotta go all in with cavalry. Because if you don't and you pussyfoot around, your cavalry's gonna get shot and die horribly. And everyone laughs at you. Everybody laughs at you. The end. So yeah, so then we start getting into, so the rifled aspect. If we want to do this correct, if we do the idea of rifled, we can do, it's pretty much, actually we can, no, we keep it with breech loaders. We'll give the skirmishers some, we'll give the skirmishers the idea of, or something. I don't know what the fucking call this. We'll start giving we'll give the skirmishers some funny equipment. But yeah, so it's like you're gonna end up with the lever action rifle. Yeah, fucking lever actions. Lever actions are going to be, actually, because technically I need to add in the needle. Actually, if we add in the needle, a needle rifle. We'll add in a needle rifle. We'll do that. It's going to be a little bit, it's going to be pretty fucking expensive. Not 0.6. Maybe we do 0.2. We do breech loaded rifle musket. We'll do 4-2. Bump up the price up a little bit because it's just double the price, and fine. Needle rifles, they're going to be worth 0.5. They're going to get a pretty big damage bonus because they're needle rifles. The lever actions, because the idea of the needle is that it's like the first bolt action. That's kind of the idea. Lever actions are going to have we're going to give them a lower range. Something like, maybe like even, we even give them something like this, like even like a very basic lever action rifle, but it's going to give them pretty big, we'll give them a pretty big damage bonus. Repeating muskets, this is just kind of a meme build more than anything. Something like 2d6, something like that. So if you can expend a lot of money to get needle rifles for everyone, but again, if you want to outfit 100, gonna give you an idea, if you want to outfit 100 men, someone's pinging me. Who's pinging me? Oh, wow. Look, everyone. It's from Fat Guy. There we go. This got call up. Or do we just cut out the lever action? We cut out lever actions and just make those repeating muskets kind of a meme build. They have incredibly short range. You're effectively doing like smoothbores at almost double the cost, but you get a lot more damage out of it, but they're also very unwieldy, which the idea of the unwieldy is that like, oh no, they cost a lot of money. You know, it's, if you fucking fail miserably with a repeating musket, you might just have to spend in order to like refix them all up to make sure they don't break on you. Let's see. We just treat these as like our basic infantry firearms. The damage bonus being the idea that we're being able to shoot more regularly unless we kill the damage bonus and we give them like a give them something like this. It's like if we give it something like this, the idea is that they can shoot twice in a round rather than like one stamina to do this, one stamina to do this. They're a little bit more valuable in that idea, which gives the needle rifle its benefit of being able to have drill automatically, but you have drill but through a lot. You also have unwield, so you can pretty much, the idea is that you can consistently bang, bang, bang. You're being able to shoot more common if you have drill. Muzzle loaders can't do that, because if you have the muzzle loaders, you wouldn't be able to do it because it takes too long to reload your rifle. Therefore, someone with like breach loading would be able to do multiple attacks per turn with multiple stamina, of course, being able to hit you maybe once or twice while you only hit them once. So that's kind of the trade-off. That maybe that works. It's kind of like the rifling benefit. It would effectively be... Let's see. Effectively would just be the breach load. Yeah, percolator conduct 2 fire orders on the same turn. We do 2 fire orders on the same turn. That's pretty valuable, and it does increase the value of the breach loaders over someone with just muzzle loaders. But it's a lot more. But it's a lot cheaper to get muzzle loaders. Needle rifles have good damage bonuses, and you have drill. Repeating muskets have pretty much both, so you can do. But the problem is they're half as much. You have half the range, effectively half the range. And you are having to deal with the fact that, like, yeah, you're not going to have a fun time. Which, if we go here, we do this. These are our basic infantry. Now, these are your big blocks of men. These are supposed to be your tanks. Outfitting someone with needle rifles are very expensive because, again, you got to think about it. If you had to outfit 1,000 men with needle rifles, that's 500 RQ. You start with 250 in most cases. And you're going to need to outfit every single one going forward, which is going to be like, oh, hey, we need to, this is bumping up the cost per soldier. So it's like, okay, I get a lot of benefits, but I'm also going bankrupt. Versus like, yeah, I just have a shit ton of people who are dirt cheap to outfit, and I never have to think about it again. Which does lead to skirmisher firearms. They're going to have their own benefits. Their main benefit is here. Skirmishers, they're just going to have the rifle. They are not going to have smooth... Actually, do I have smooth bore? No, they're not going to have smooth bores. They just don't get smooth bores right off the bat, because that's the entire idea. They can buy needle rifles. They're not going to have access to these. They get this for free, effectively. That's kind of the idea. They get these... They get the rifled muskets for free, but if we insert below, we can do the lever action. We'll do the lever action rifle, which lever actions are going to be fast firing. We do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They're going to be relatively. We do like 2, 5. No, we do like. Lever actions would be pretty much top of the line stuff. So if we do it like this, the damage bonus is going to be big. They're going to have drill right off the bat with these. But again, skirmishers are going to have a lot less men overall. So this is a lot more economical. And in its own way, this is a lot more economical. Because the idea is that, like, it's bang, 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 so the range is a little bit lower. Generally speaking, you want to keep as far away as possible. We can also do, so what would be, it would be the, Whitworths. There we go. Polygonal rifling instead of traditional rifle barrels. Hexagonal, meaning the projectile did not have to bite the grooves. The concept was demonstrated series experiment with the brass hound. Was a muzzle loading. The Whitworth was a muzzle loader. But we can do a we do a spinneret rifle. We'll actually do a spinneret because I like the way that it says, because I think it sounds cool. We can do something along the idea of 6, 5, 4, 3. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. They're going to have a good damage bonus, but they have by far the longest range currently. It's 8 tiles that they can reliably hit somebody from. Yeah, this is 8 tiles they can reliably hit somebody from. They can do decent damage with it. Actually, we can probably even bring it down to 0.5 because the idea is like, yeah, these are still hellishly expensive, but they don't have drill. You can't shoot more than once with these. If I want to, I guess I can put up. I guess we can put up. Actually, I can give it the range. We can give it the ranged tag, with the idea being that you can't really use it up close. If they are within your range, you're going to have a bad time. If they are, if they are 3, 2, 1 tiles away from you, the spinnerets are worthless. They're not going to be able to. They aren't going to be able to help you. They're going to lose their damage, but they're too close effectively for you to be effective with them. With the Crimean War, so they are muzzle loaded. Yeah, the first fucking. See, now we can start getting into the weird guns. That's the funny part. Because what we can do we give carbines to the skirmishers? Actually, what we can do this. We can do we can do the long barrel smoothbore. Actually, it'd be long barrel muzzle loaded smoothbore, and then we do long barrel breech loaded smoothbore. We do that, we then bring out you. You don't get any bayonets on you, but you get drill on you. Spinnerets get a lot of damage. They don't get any damage bonuses, but if we want to do that, you're going to be a little bit more expensive than either. Actually, technically, you should be that. You should be that. You're going to be a little bit more expensive than this, but you're losing out on bayonets. That's kind of the big idea there. You're losing out on the bayonets. You're losing out on kind of more melee-focused things, which is going to be an issue for you. Hey everybody, I've lost the ability to fight. I've lost the ability to defend myself. Oh no! What shall I do? Technically, if we want, we can do the revolver rifles. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We can do a 0.6. We can do a little bit weird pricing with like 0.6 on these. We can do plus 2d6. They're going to have drill. See. Because yeah, effectively we can outfit everyone with revolver rifles. Yeah, this is a revolver rifle. The Colt new model, revolving rifle, they were stupid. They had, these were really dumb weapons, but funny to think about. I love them. They're amazing. They look so silly that I can't help but look at them. Let's think. What other guns can we work with? What other guns can we work? Shotguns? Shotguns are weird. Like if we do like shotguns in the military. Like they did exist. Like combat shotguns, trench guns issued in World War I. Like mostly they were cavalry, or like, yeah, mostly they were like cavalry. Let's see, 1804, British, Austrian, Prussian generals, the buck and ball, they were led buckshot. Advantage of loading those that greater chance of hitting the enemy, thus taking wounded soldiers out of a fight. Not cause severe wounds, not for not longer ranges, considering a melee shot. I guess we could put in like shotguns. Shotguns maybe. Do we put them under infantry? Because like the idea is not necessarily like that everybody has these, but like most people in there have some variation of the. I guess we can actually use it for skirmishers. If we want to be really cursed about things, we can give people like a shot, like the we can give skirmishers like this because they're pretty fast, and we can give people even something like we do something like this. Like they just have an insanely low range. They're very cheap. They do an insane amount of damage, but they're unwieldy. How about that? Actually, no. We can do 2z6. Like they're very close range, so you need to get your skirmishers into. You effectively need to treat your skirmishers as people who run up to the enemy and pray, because you're gonna get shot at if you don't have proper cover. So skirmishers are supposed to be fast and maneuverable, able to kind of like position themselves where they need to be. Thus, you can, if you want to do ambush, I guess if you want to do ambushes, you can. Revolver rifles, 2d6, they got drill. Guess we can lower the price of these. We lower the price of the revolver rifles. And we add unwieldy to them. Oh. We either make a joke about them, Alright, 'tis a bit late. Good night, funny people. And remember, the first rule of Napoleonic Age warfare is to have fun. See, Manly's correct. Even though no one's paid for Manly to show up yet. What a shame. I'm sorry, Manly, but you didn't even get to see yourself as a co-host this time. What a shame. Let's see. Guess we can actually, no. What would you give revolver rifles? Like what benefit what benefit did the revolver rifle possess? Nothing. They just had ammunition. And we're not really tracking ammunition in this game. That's kind of one of the things there. We're not really tracking. I guess we could give it an additional, I guess we can throw an additional D6 on it, with the idea being like you're able to fire it as quick, but the thing is you're going to have to deal with unwieldy. That's kind of the drawback. You have to worry about unwieldy. I guess we can do you do wall cannons. If we do where's the wall gun? We added a wall gun. We make this the longest range thing, but there's a noticeable problem with the wall gun. They're very expensive at 7 point. It's at about 1 per man. They deal pretty good damage. They do require setup. They are unwieldy. Actually, it's going to be ranged, setup, and unwieldy. Pretty much, wall cannons are, to give you an idea what the wall cannon is, what the wall gun is, anybody. Wait, this is a wall gun. That is a human being next to a wall gun. You want to know what you use the wall gun for? For nothing. You never use the wall gun. Well, more accurately, you're using a wall gun to... Yeah, you kind of see why this requires a little bit of setup. It's like, have no fear. I'm going to shoot this gun and everyone around me is going to die. All my friends are dead. Yeah, see, it's always funny when you talk about like the revolver, the revolver rifle, because these things just didn't do very well. Fucking obviously. So if we do this... Cool, this is the way they kind of operate, which is going to then lead to cavalry firearms, which they're going to have carbines. That's all they get. They get carbines. What's the difference with carbines, you may ask? Well, to put it simply, they have a lot lower ranged. They have lower range. Rifled. Muzzle loaded. Don't have good enough. They don't have great range. If we do... So breech loaded carbines. Their range is a lot worse because they don't even have kind of like the far range necessarily. They just have kind of their medium range. They don't have bayonets. Very low for rifle. They're just going to do 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, don't have anything there. Yep. Rifled carbines. RQ cost per soldier. This is going to be 0.2. Actually, no, it's going to be you're going to be 0.2. You're going to be 0.1. Actually, no, we can do 0.2, 0.4. You're going to be, because your muzzle loader is going to be 0.4, and you're going to be 0.8. Your carbines are very expensive. They're a little bit more expensive because they're lighter and they take a little bit more effort to make. That's literally the reason. Saves orders to comic pages gifts. I'm very uncomfortable. Why do they save it as gifts? Give me apologies, everyone. Why do they save them as GIFs? GIFs. Yeah, this is the advantage of carbines. You can use them on a horse. And if I want to be specific, I guess I could put carbines in for skirmishers. Do I put in carbines for skirmishers? Because technically they would... Skirmishers have like the widest variety of like weapons they can use because that's their entire purpose. Doesn't mean they're good, but they can be used elsewhere. I guess we can do carbines. This gives skirmishers a shit ton of opportunities, kind of mold themselves how they wish. Horse pistols. Yeah, horse pistols. I'm gonna reduce horse pistols down actually because technically horse pistols. Yeah, you gotta be point blank. You gotta be point fucking blank for the horse pistols. That's the drawback of them. They suck, but you legitimately have to be point fucking blank with these things. They are very cheap. But you're not really supposed to be using the horse pistol in any other context other than the bang, we're shooting you right away, and it's free. That's one of the advantages. You want to make dragoon. I forgot about air rifles, didn't I? I forgot about air. Put there. Hello, air rifle, because air rifles, my beloved, much more expensive than most other things, but that's fine with me. I forgot to put zeros on all these, dude. Oh, didn't mean to hit that. Technically, I can bump up the damage. I can bump this up here. Spinnerets, we can keep the we'll bump you up. Like, no, we'll do that. Shotguns are cheap. Lever actions are pretty cheap. Air rifles have got good range. They're just unwieldy. That's the issue with them. They're very unwieldy compared to the other 7 range. Compared to the other high range ones, they are also very loud. They're also very quiet. I mean, we do this, so cavalry firearms, blunderbusses, we don't need them anymore. Okay, so horseback, we want to be specific. We can bring in the shotguns. Actually, we can do cut down shotguns. We're going to make them a little bit more expensive, but they're going to have pretty much the same thing. It's just, again, it just takes more time to make one of them. They're shorter, but they're a little bit more precise. Which is going to bring down the hammer. What else do we need? We need the lever action rifle. We're gonna bring in the lever actions because you can use a lever action on there. We can do revolvers rather than horse pistols. You can technically bring in a revolver. The revolvers are going to have decent range. They're just going to be fucking expensive. There we go. That's the downside of revolvers. They just cost money, and there we go. If I want to be precise about things, what I can do is someone left the comment. Who are you? So let's do cavalry, dragoons. Dragoon dismounted infantry on cavalrymen on attack, so the dragoons. We can technically remove. I learned that giant play. I also watched yesterday's VOD. Did you just do that stream to complain about Periwinkle? Probably. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. The secret of all conspires to fill your life with firearm autism. Yes, my life is firearm autism. And I can't escape it because guns will forever be the like anathema of the tabletop games. That is like one thing that's like very difficult for people to like deal with, is the fact like like it actually, you know what, did dragoons fire from horseback? It evolved into conventional, capable to charge and fight on horseback. They are armed with short rifles with carbines and heavy swords. Difference between dragoon and cavalry. Dragoon the battle, then most are fighting dismounted. So technically, what we can do is we can actually remove lever action, remove the horseback from the lever action, because it's the idea you have to dismount to use it. What we can technically do, if we're using a carbine, if we really want to do this idea, we use the horse pistols here. If we want to, we can literally remove the horseback from all the carbines and just have the idea that you are effectively fighting from, you have to dismount to use guns, but they are guns and they are long range. Oh god, is that even a good idea? Oh god, I guess if you want to make a dragoon, if you're making a dragoon unit, you specifically want to make a dragoon-esque unit. That's entire job is to move to a position, dismount, fight like hell, remount, leave. Then maybe doing this wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. Fighting. You know what? Let's make a call. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. They aren't the best in the world, but here's my reasoning. This is supposed to be able to make anything. That's what gives the value to the horse pistols and the cut down shotguns, which allows you to fight effectively on horseback with a gun, which is valuable. Which it also makes revolvers useful. What else? What other guns would there be? What other guns? Anathema. Anathema means polar opposite. If I were to say it's logic is anathema to communists, that logic is the polar opposite of communism. That's effectively what it means. Anathema. Direct opposition. Anathema. That's why I pronounce it. I'm American, so I speak everything correctly. Anathema. 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 That's why I pronounce it. It sounds better. And I'm right, because I'm America. Ugh, feels weird. It's like percolate. Like my favorite game, percolate. Oh god. So you would be God, what I guess you wouldn't really have that many firearms as an actual cavalryman. That's not really the point. We do this to melee weapons, however. That looks fucky wucky, but we can do this. Back to everything here. We go 1, 2. We can fit everything here. So, So in the heat of battle, not every situation is solved by simple rifles and hope. Sometimes bloody melees will break out, letting soldiers indulge in their barbaric natures. Melee weapons are similar to firearms, outside not possessing a range. As long as the unit possesses a melee weapon, the cohesion damage they inflict will always be doubled on enemy fighters. Like one of the most important things to understand is that the enemy will break before they die, if that makes any sense. It's pretty much they're gonna run away before they have the opportunity of just, getting killed. They don't want to. There is no reason to fight if we're all going to die. Like, they don't want to do that. Why would they? So, an axe, point 3, they have destruction. That means you can destroy cover and things. Bayonet, it's an attachment. It's also gory. The lance, don't need to worry about starting weapons anymore. You add plus 2d6 to, actually, I guess we have to break it. I guess we're going to break it down like we did up here. So... we break it down, it'd be infantry melee. Infantry melee, you no longer have to worry about this. Damage bonus and any trait, so it'd be... So the axe 3, destruction, bayonet, 0.2, 0.2, 0, attachment and gory tags. The maces, so you're literally just beating the shit out of the enemy. You can do that. Sabers, straight swords, they just do a little bit more damage. Actually, I should say infantry and skirmisher. They don't have a lot of melee weapons. Their main thing is bayonets. Cavalry, however, cavalry melee, they're going to have the access. They're not going to have bayonets, axes. They can have lances. Oh, I forgot about pikes. They can technically have pikes. If they want to have pikes, you definitely can bring them. They're going to have sabers. When you have sabers, they can bring shorts, not straight swords. Holy bleed. This makes sabers do a little bit more damage. We make sabers do a smidge more damage. What other things can we bring? What other weapons can we bring for cavalrymen? Cavalry melee weapons. Tell me more about cavalry. Cavalry Napoleonic. It's going to be sabers. Sabers and sabers. Tell me more about sabers. Oh no. Oh no. Straight sabers and a little curved sabers. Yeah, they were just saber. You just had sabers. I guess what we can do is we can have light sabers. No, we can just do a saber and then we can do a heavy. This is just funny to me, and I don't know why this image is as amusing as it is. Okay, so we've gotten all of these. What other possible things can you use to beat the ever-loving shit? Did you see the announcement from Chaosium? RuneQuest is getting new material. People on Twitter are pissed that it wasn't a path. Link it to me. I need to see this. We'll talk about it live on air. One quick off-topic question. I'm starting to see a bunch of village makers and U-Haul isekais. Glad and sad to see the fantasies, free man fantasies still exist. You don't have to be rich if you want to live freely. Okay? How would you make an RPG based around that? Especially a village maker. Like village RPGs? Effectively you would need to make it as like nice and friendly as physically possible, with the idea being that you are not necessarily playing, you're playing the village more than you are playing the individual. That's kind of an idea. You're important people in a village, but like everything feeds into the like we want to build up our little town. You need to get people involved in the we're building a little house together. One day, fucking Mayuku Kingdom will get. One day, Mayuku Kingdom will get a translation. One day. And when Mayuku Kingdom finally does, we'll never have this conversation again. Because I could just say, play Mayuku Kingdom. Let's see. I'm gonna feel sad. Because Pathfinder makes me sad. Hello, Chaosium. Let's see. RuneQuest. Gonna be a separate publication. Yeah, it looks like people are just like saying it's cool that it's RQ. Yeah, most people are just saying it's cool to be that it's RQ. I'm okay with that. I like RQ. Chaosium's call was a little bit weird when it came to like AI art stuff, but it's fine. Pathfinder is pain. So I know Pathfinder apparently just put out a new book that's like, oh, it's 1,000 new magic weapons and shit. No standard weapons, just magic shit. Oh, Mayuku Kingdom. I'm gonna do my best to. I'm gonna do my best to spell it. Otherwise known as going to Google. This is Mayuku Kingdom. It's a game that does not exist. It does exist, though. I should say that it does. It is real, but the problem is like it's just very. It's exclusively a JRPG, so it's not like something that's gonna like come out of nowhere. If we do this, we do cavalry firearms. Did I already sword ascending? No, I did not. Okay. I need to do sword ascending on you. Skirmisher's got a lot of stuff. Melee weapons. It feels like there should be another. It feels like there should be another thing, but for the life of me, I do not know what it is. What am I thinking of? What other kind of melee weapons would work? You and the boys are charging into the enemy on horseback with the intent on just making somebody's life miserable. How do you do it? How are we gaming, boys? I say I mean, let's see, axe, lance, saber, heavy saber. I guess we can add in maces for them. I guess maces work. Glaive. I mean, glaives would just be spears in this. The thing is, glaives would be lances, unfortunately, and how they would work in this particular thing. Yeah, well, so Pathfinder players got Gas Chaos and working on Orc, and I assume they reported Galant to the Pathfinder. Oh, the quote retweets. God, absolutely, Absolutely not. They would never port Glorantha to fucking Pathfinder. And I can tell you why, is because then they would have to pretty much pay lip service to Glorantha. That's the funny thing with Orc, is that everybody was like, oh, it's Pathfinder. And that's exactly what Paizo wanted, by the way, guys. Don't be like, oh my goodness, Paizo is so cool. No. All Orc was the attempt to get people on Paizo's side, and nobody knows I don't know what the fuck's going on with Orc anymore. I can tell you that much. I got no idea what's going on with Orc. Because it's, it kind of backfired in a way. Cavalry weapon. Tell me more about cavalry weapons. Lancing, sabers, lancing. Guns. You can just have a gun. Yeah, this is always like one of those amusing things where it's just like, by sheer technicality, like, there's not many weapons you can use, but also a lot. So if we use the idea like, oh, something broke. Something broke. Oh no, gamers. If we do, let me see, is this going to break it? Okay, something is wrong in there, and I don't know what it is. You know what that means? It's called the troubleshooting time. We remove you. Hit this again. Unable to load file. Okay, something's fucking table's broken, I think. God fucking damn it. I hate. Why does this work? I don't know. It just does. Okay, so next we do traits. This is a fantastic image and I always love it. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make a table. When in doubt, make tables. Remember that. Remember that, everybody. Make tables. Trait name. So, anti-cavalry. Okay, so bayonet. Technically, if I wanted to be really persnickety about things, I could add in a if I wanted to be persnickety, what I could do is add in a thing about you getting you get +1 if you remove the bayonet, but I don't want to. Don't need. That's KO. Mm. Deal. And then actually increase the melee battle. Setup. Sorry if I'm not responding to things right away. I forgot it's a savage fucking weapon. We'll do savage weapons out of date. Use my savages. Lower the intensity by 1. Why is this scary? Because I can add in bows now. Technically, bows aren't really a thing. Stealth? There's only one stealth weapon. Technically, I can get, if I want to, I can give air rifles to cavalry. That might not be a bad idea to give air rifles to cavalry. Force them to use that. Roll 1d6. After every attack roll, we'll roll 6. That's... There we go. Now we do that. Cleaned you up slightly. I want to be specific. I need to... Oh, I forgot to add drill. Pin the header row. That. Technically, I need to add in... What do I need to add in? I need to add in drill. Yes, drill's the only one I really need. A drill and ranged. Drill. The weapon can be... can make... Two attack orders per. Can make 2 attack orders per round. Still using stamina. Ranged. The weapon loses all damage bonuses. When the is closer than point blank. This is closer than point blank range. Yeah, the weapon loses all damage bonuses when the yeah. So you pretty much lose a lot of benefit by doing that. We do that. Note on traits is an individual weapon. Yeah, this is a fucking French Revolution comic. I don't know why I find it so funny. Right. Okay. Yeah, the fact SRD 5.1 is CC kind of killed Orc. Not now, if any less permission than that, they'll get flack for it. Yeah. Like, I don't think people quite understand that when because here's the issue. Also, I know what you're talking about there, Solid. That's not the full game. Because there's a lot of cards involved. I don't think anyone's really translated all the cards. Like, one of the issues with that, McDrewsalt, is D&D, and in turn Wizards, has done the most tactically sound nightmare situation physically possible. Because what they've done is say, hey, D&D is free now. But they haven't given you enough to actually play that much of it. Buy Konami's pot. I don't want to buy Konami's pot. So the entire idea is what they've done is say, hey, you can play D&D for free. D&D is for everybody. D&D is for everybody. D&D is for everybody. But if you actually just play the SRD version, you don't get that much with it. Like, relatively speaking, you aren't getting a lot with the SRD 5.1. One subclass, one thing, cut down races and everything, and, well, obviously, you need more, right? You want to play more, right? You want more. It's like, why don't you sign up? Why don't you buy one D&D? Why don't you buy the 5th edition book? Why don't you do this? But if you want to get the latest thing, well, if you want to get the latest thing, then obviously, you need to get one D&D. Which it is really funny that now the one D&D playtests are coming out. People are like, wow, this kind of sucks. Or like, wow, this is great. There are so many people now like full on defending it. Like 110% defending everything that's been going on. And it's like, you fools, you utter baboons, you complete cretins, you've fallen for their little trap. And this is why they keep skull fucking you. They don't do it because they love you, they do it because they hate you. They give you a little hit of meth, and they say, okay, I like meth good, so they keep giving it to you. And now anybody else releasing any other game have to put it into an SRD, or have to put it into Creative Commons in some capacity. And I don't think people quite understand that that is terrible. That's a terrible idea. Why? You're like, oh, well, I'm going to SRD everything. The problem with SRDs, and I've talked about this before, the main issue when it comes to things like SRDs and things like that is you push forward, you release everything for free, and you diminish the value of your own product. Everyone has access to Forged in the Dark. Everyone can make Forged in the Dark properties. Yeah, Blades in the Dark has made a lot of money, but they can't make Blades in the Dark 2 anymore. That's impossible for them. Because it's fucking free. And it's like, oh, well, we want to do this. No, you can't. You got to make something new. You can't make any new mechanics because I want the free thing. Like, you've made something free that is now incredibly enticing for people just to use. People don't want to buy a new rule set. Well, this one's free. I just want the free thing. And it's Powered by Metal sounds rad. That's a terrible name, and you damn well know it, Ethical. Terrible. Like, the thing is, Powered by Metal. Really, no one plays D&D SRD only. It's a scaffolding for third party. That's the point. But what does that third party need? What does that third party rely on? They rely on the core. They rely on wizards. Why do they just go with advanced? Because like the OSR guy has been kind of doing their own thing for a while. I'm not a big fan of SRDs because that's not really a healthy industry. You do sometimes get free advertising, but yeah, again, it's one of those things though. Like, if now here's the thing: if I make a Forged in the Dark game, I don't have to give a goddamn dime to Evil Hat. I don't. And nothing can stop me. Or you end up with things like Flabbergasted, which was kind of weird to me, because Flabbergasted, for all that it's trying to say that it is quite literally just Forged in the Dark. There is very little of Flabbergasted that just isn't Forged in the Dark, and it's like, is this an independent entity? And that was the problem the entire time, because I was actually like referencing Forged in the Dark when I was going through it. I'm like, holy shit, it totally is. I don't think that's a very healthy industry, because people aren't making new things. People are using old things repeatedly and just not really advancing them at all. Why would I ever want to advance something? The thing is free. And there's a very long series of issues with that, and if everything is free in our industry, the people who are already making money because they have a lot of money already are going to continue to make money. And anybody else lower isn't going to make anything. You can't put out a game to charge $5 for it because people are going to be like, why isn't it free? This game should be free. Is that was like the funny thing. That's kind of like the entire thing for like the Fighter Guy Studios. That was his entire problem, which was like nobody wants to buy anything I made because the game is free. It's like no shit because you made Lasers and Feelings, but this is just me ranting. Me ranting, you know how it goes. All right, so unlike previous eras, Dawn of the Firearm mass formation saw a distinct fall in the fashionable nation of armor pieces that slowed down movement, prevented larger armies from being fielded. To an ogre company. Tradition is everything, and sometimes wearing armor may be the only thing preventing a unit from being annihilated. The armor value reduces the number of successes a unit suffers from attacks. The stamina reduction amount of stamina reduced to is the amount of stamina reduced. The armor value reduces the successes a unit. It reduces the successes of an attack. Yeah, like being exhausted's really bad, by the way, because that means your intensity scale is always going to be a little bit higher. That means you're going to be taking more damage. So yeah, this is what it's like. Yeah, no armor is usually the way to go. Even like light armor, that's one success that gets taken away and costs one. Like, if you want to make a full-on like cuirassier regiment, you probably want like medium armor, because that's two successes. But that's two successes that you pretty much are able to like negate just a little bit of damage consistently. Oh god. Every time it gets better. Every time this image, like just the raw English nature of this image. Like this really does summarize the English perspective on the French. Yeah, exactly. You know, he was he was charging $1.25 per page. Exactly. But it's kind of larger issues when you get like any other game. Who made Lasers and Feelings? Fuck. Lasers and Feelings. Lasers and Feelings. 1-7 Design. John Harper. Not John Harper. Is it John Harper who made this game? Yeah, it is John Harper. Hello, John Harper. He made Blades in the Dark later. Yeah, this guy really. There is a very small group of people who work together with everything. You have to remember that. We would love to believe, really love to believe, that our industry is very large and very expansive, but there are very few people who have. There are very few people who actually have like any remote amount of influence. It's very funny. It's not. It's not very funny at all. Okay, so on this weapon, some sort of these molten gear pieces of gear throughout the world. Soldiers use. Actually, equipment. Gaining an advantage. We're off the... Okay, so the unit, once revealed from being concealed, can reconceal themselves once per battle. Canteens. When taking a breather, restore +1 stamina, can only be used once. Cold weather gear. Suffers no cohesion while in cold weather. Fugal. Old style mines of the current space. Another unit steps on the space, he'll take 2d6 times 3 casualties. Is indiscriminate. Hand grenades. Choose an adjacent space at the start of the unit's next phase. Light infantry or cavalry. Skirmishers, infantry, or cavalry. Dealing 1d6 times 5 casualties. Any occupant of that space. That is really bad for you. Hot weather gear. Stakes to deter cavalry when deployed. Any cavalry charging through the space lose the charge bonus. Takes 6 times 2 casualties. Okay, so what other pieces of equipment can we think of, everybody? Let's think. What fun, exciting piece of equipment can we have? Let's think. What can we add to the battlefield? Yay! Let's think. Actually, I guess we can do, actually entrenching tools. Uh, 0.2. Let's think. Let's think. What would be things that we could add into the fight? Reminds me of paper I wrote for economics class. I was making a point that Patreon Kickstarter a weird turn to monkey situation where instead of trying to create art to sell it, you can convince people to fund its creation without expecting a major profit once the thing is done. Like how painting and other works of art rests on some situation. There's nothing new on the internet, pretty much. Like, one of the ideas with like Kickstarter and like Patreon is Kickstarter. I can do an entire thing on Kickstarter because I find that to be such a fascinating fucked situation. That's the word I'm going with, fucked. But like, it's really weird to think that we've effectively returned to just patronage a lot of the times, and most of like the companies that we think, like most of them don't like make profit on anything. Like very few pieces of the industry actually are like members, like, oh, this is my job. My job is tabletop games, or like the publishing things and like that. And I've always told people, like, I don't necessarily want a job in the tabletop game industry or whatever. What I want is in the publishing industry, because that's where you'd actually be making money, is publishing. But even then, that's kind of a crapshoot. It's like, oh, Jesus. And we would really like to believe that like this is an actual industry and people can make money with it, but it's really not. And now there's an argument of like, oh, like not everything needs to be an industry, not everything needs to be make money off of it. I understand that, but this is also an industry that's been around for a while, and it is an industry. There's pipelines, there's pretty big ideas behind things. But you also end up with like this weird cottage industry, like it's cottage industry at the end of the day, where there is a company that makes a shit ton of money off of this. There is a company, there's a few companies that do, and it's like, yeah, if you aren't part of those big companies, you're in the dirt where you belong, and you don't get to have fun. Fuck you. And Kickstarter is weird. Here's the thing with Kickstarter that's weird, is that it's not, Kickstarter is not being used the way that it was originally pitched to be. Because the original idea behind Kickstarter is pretty simple. I have an idea. I have possibly the means to do such, or at least I have the best idea. I want to appeal to the people. Hello, people. I wish to get funds from you to do the thing. You get the thing. I make the thing. You get the thing. We all win. However, the cycle is broken a little bit with Kickstarter. Now it's, okay, I have the thing, I want to distribute the thing, I'm going to go to Kickstarter and pretty much take pre-orders. They get the thing, we get the thing, and it's like this weird, the pipeline's been fucked up on Kickstarter for a while now. Because it is a business, that Kickstarter is a business, mind you. And it's really interesting hearing people like, oh, well, this is how you optimize your Kickstarter. This is how you make sure it was great. Like, you get people like Scribble, for example. Scribble actually was like, there were people like giving them like a shit ton of tips and tricks and all this bullshit on like Blue Server, for example. And there's like entire videos of like how to optimize your Kickstarter, how to get things done, how to do this, how to do that. That's not how it's supposed to be done. Oh, no. It especially does not help with our little shithole of a business, a little sphere, because the way we make money doesn't work. This industry doesn't work anymore, guys. I really hate to break it to everybody here, but it really doesn't. And you may be wondering, what do you mean by that, Notepad? Well, the answer is pretty fucking simple. Way back in yesteryear, in the 70s, 80s, 90s even, if I wanted to get a book, I had to buy the book. I had to go down to the game store, I had to pick it up, and I had to have it in my hands. Now, you have PDFs and things like that, but we still sell books. Okay, more distribution, right? The problem is twofold. One, video games in 1990 were shit like Baldur's Gate and Doom. They don't have the imagination now, but now you play things like fucking Pathfinder Kingmaker, which is the tabletop experience in a nutshell, looks better, does better. It's like, okay, but we still have the imagination, right? We still have the creativity. Do we? Fuck, man. That's hard. That's difficult. It's also really hard to get people together. And books, like printing industry, that's already a mess. And so do you focus on trying to sell books, which a single book going from point A to point B may be more expensive than the amount of money you're selling it. Who's going to want to like go out of their way to buy like a $40 book for a game that's maybe 100 pages that they don't know yet? They don't know if it's going to be fun or not, because it's not like, oh, I'll just look at a review, or oh, I'll just buy it on Steam, and if I don't like playing it, I'll just return it. It's 2-hour return window. Hell, it's not even a 2-hour return window. You get to play for 2 hours, but you're like, I don't like this, and then you can return it. A lot of these companies are allowed to do that. But if I download a game on DriveThruRPG, if I buy a game on DriveThru, and I download it, I look at it being like, wow, this is hot garbage. I can't return the book. Did I get my money? No, you can't do that. You can, but it's not going to be applied. Because you already read it. And I can copy it 4 times and send it elsewhere. I think that's one of the reasons we've been seeing such a shift toward VTTs and things like Pericles, Pericles or whatever the fuck it's called, because they can protect it. They can sell things a lot easier. People are going to buy a $150 thing because they want to get the experience without getting the hassle. We're fucked, is what I'm trying to get across here. We're fucked. And do I know a way to fix it? No. I don't know a way to fix it. Because I don't think there is a way. Honestly, that's, I think, one of the major issues is I do not think there is a way to rectify the industry. I don't think there's a way to, like, make people want to buy more games without telling them about it. But if you tell them about it, that's not going to work. So it's like, oh, well, here's an SRD. Here's a free version of the game that you can try, and if you don't like it, still buy the game, please. And it's like, what do you have to give people for a free version of the game? How much do you give? How much don't you give? Because if you don't give enough, they may be like, oh, well, this is nothing, and leave. But if you give too much, it's just like, why would I ever want to buy the game? So you start going for more artwork, and then you start doing more like, oh, it looks really nice, it looks really pretty. And then people got the good idea, a very smart idea, you could even say. You end up with a very smart idea, relatively speaking, which is, what if we just cut the game part out and just sell the look? I think the Patreon thing isn't as bad. I think Patreon, a company, is kind of gets a little bit weirdo sometimes. Don't block me, please. And I think people have gamed Kickstarter. I think the problem is the idea isn't bad. I think the people have gamed it so much that it's like, oh, well, sorry. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. Your Kickstarter's dead in the water. Sorry, your Kickstarter's dead in the water because Onyx Path decided to put out a new one, even though they don't need another Kickstarter to put out, the next Mage book or whatever. But they're gonna do it because that's how their business is built around. Their business is built around Kickstarters, which is like, that's not quite how it's supposed to do. Where you end up with people with like doing Patreon, which is like, oh, here's my Patreon that's nothing relevant to it. Does your opposition of SRDs primarily come from a financial or moral perspective? Financial. Because it's a, here's the thing. I'm gonna, yeah, MCDM has a Patreon. He doesn't need a Patreon. But you're gonna do it because you want people to pay. I have a Patreon, but I put all my games out for fucking free, guys. The big thing with like the SRDs from a financial perspective is pretty simple. Let's say, for example, there are 3 games out there. We have 3 games, identical pitch. Completely identical in pitch or whatever, and pretty much the same idea of mechanics. Now, game 1 is pretty much an open SRD. You can do whatever you want with it. It's free. The game is free. The second game, you have to pay for the entire thing. You have to pay for the entire game, but you get the whole game. Version 3 released half the game into an SRD format, and the second half from a non-perspective. Like, you have to buy the rest. I can guarantee you one thing. More people have downloaded the first one, the one that's completely free. There's going to be more eyes on it. There's going to be more people looking at it. And the question now arises, why do I want to pay for this? Because it looks like to be the exact same thing. Why do I want to pay for the other two? So the value has decreased across all of them. There's a free thing out. Why do I want this? There's a free thing. Why do I want this? So the business has to change. You have this basic SRD. You have the thing now that is everything. Everyone needs to build off of that, giving them something different. Well, this, I'm adding a bunch of new mechanics to this SRD. Oh, I'm adding this new setting to this SRD. I'm adding this. Everything has to build off the new SRD because that's the new value. You know, it's literally the idea of it's, again, I'm not saying that's the worst idea ever, but the problem is, here's the thing, people have exploited it to make it worse. Because now there's hundreds of SRDs out there. There's hundreds of these little free games that completely drown out other things. Because is it this? Is it this? Oh, well, I'm going to be powered by this. And that's a lot of questions. Like, oh, well, is this free? You know, does this have a right license? Does this look right? Is this right? So now it's like, we have a lot of things that are completely free flooding the market rather than people actually competing against one another in like a business sense. And I think that's one of the reasons why like 5e has dominated the market as much as they have, because they've got the best of both worlds. People buy the shit and people buy the shit and people sell the shit, and they you know, everything was free. Beast perspective, and games die in obscurity, just not wanting to buy it once they know about it. It means you can't iterate on the same idea over and over again. The more eyes can help you. Yeah, it's one of the ideas, the SRD, is in its core, in its basic idea, the simple concept should be, I've created a cool game. People like my cool game. They like the mechanics of my cool game. So I'm going to open up the SRD to allow people to expand on the game that I've already written, and now I can pretty much, the best way to think about it is offset. I can offset pretty much making supplements for myself to allow people to do something else. I'm allowing people to expand my own product out. Problem is, people have now used that as a way to make games. Case in point, Gilla RPG with Nova. Nova is not a complete game. That's not the point. Nova's not supposed to be a complete game. Nova's supposed to be this weird little SRD thing that you can do whatever you want with it, and you're supposed to make content for him to make the game fun. Or you get things like the D&D thing, where, oh, well, if you just buy a bunch of supplements for it, it'll be fun. If you just do this, it'll be fun. That's so God. It's, yeah, and I think that's like one of the reasons like Morkborg have gotten so popular. It's not necessarily what it looks like, but because it's completely open license, allowing anybody to capitalize on it, and it's such a nothing burger of a system that anything can be possible with it. So it's like, and any conversation, it's always funny with Morkborg, because the second you be like, I want to play Morkborgs, everyone's like, okay, you want to have fun with Morkborg, you have the core game, then you get this supplement, this supplement, this supplement, and this supplement. And if you get all 5 of those supplements, then you get another book, then you can play the game, it'll be fun. And it's like, that's not how this is supposed to go. Because everybody is now trying to build off one another rather than making something new. Nobody wants to make new things. New things are scary and new things do not sell. And that's why I like going over so many games. That's why I like try to go over every like different games. Because I want to, and I don't go over like big popular games simply because like there's so many other games out there that just don't get any eyes, and it's like, oh wow, you've really accomplished a lot because you've got 100 downloads on fucking drive-thru. If you put out a video game with 100 downloads, that would be crippling. Like that game's failed somewhat. Like, sorry, it's just failed. You haven't done very well. And in our industry, that's like catastrophic success. Like, oh my God, I've got gold. I'm gonna slap that shit on the cover. Oh me, I'm a gold seller. Hell yeah, that's nothing, man. That's not good. That's why I want to go over a different game. That's why I kind of like struggle to talk about other games. I'm like, I want to talk to you about these things. I want to make sure that you understand that there are other games out there and you should try them. But even if they aren't good, I want to talk about them. it's funny. People have, people have wanted me to be like more positive about games. People have wanted me to be more, uplifting about them or whatever. But no, we shouldn't be just uplifting. No, we should be critical of things. We should say this game fucking sucks and you shouldn't buy it for X, Y, and Z reason. Because, and we should expand off of it. But there's good ideas here. It's not like the OSR community, which has kind of like a bad problem of, and McDrussel, you can probably, anyone who has dealt with OSR stuff can kind of attest to this. OSR has this bad tendency of being an Ouroboros, where it's the snake that eats its own fucking tail. Because it keeps going around in circles and they keep trying to reinvent the wheel. And there's a lot of OSR games out there that have like one download because it's someone's BNX hack that they're like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever I've created. And like, that's why like the OSR community is actually such a fascinating, like, I had an entire set of ideas. Like, I had an entire paper set up. Yeah, every OSR game is compatible. If that's a good thing or a bad thing is up to interpretation. That's kind of an issue unto its own right. That's, again, because it's the idea of like, yeah, we're all in this together. The unfortunate reality is that there are micro communities. And I was talking about this for a while. I almost had a paper set up in college about this, about micro communities, which is the idea that as a marketeer, as a marketer, you should not be targeting communities. You should be focusing on micro communities. You should not sell to the OSR community. You should sell to, the old school OSR community. You should sell to the new school OSR community. You should sell to these smaller groups. Because what's going to happen is that those groups are going to be a lot more fanatical about it. And they're going to bleed to other sections rather than this is for nobody. This is for everybody but nobody. It's for one group that they're going to share it around. And, it's kind of like, but you can also appeal, but you can also alienate them as well. See, that's kind of the issue. And it's kind of an interesting conversation to have. Oh, God. This is Wuso tier esoteric marketing strategy. No, that was the idea was the issue with it. Yeah, no, it's within small communities and getting success from it. It's because those smaller. The thing is, those smaller communities are going to be the ones that are more fanatical, and once you target them, they're going to be more happy about it. It's rather than, it's kind of like the current marketing strategy that a lot of people go for is let's try to appeal to as many people as physically possible. But if we only appeal to a single group, that single group is going to be a shit ton happier, and then they're going to create the grassroots engine for it. It's kind of like the Paradox games. Like Paradox, like you got to think about it like this. It's like Paradox RPGs, not Paradox RPGs, but like Paradox games, you get things like Mountain Blade. It's things like Mountain Blade. You got games like Crusader Kings 3, Victoria 3. They focused on a single micro niche. These grand strategy gamers. Little tiny fucking gamers there. And those people talked about it. They made videos about it. They were fanatical about it, and they got more people to be into it. They got more. I'm playing Hoi 4 right now. Hoi 4 is like 6 years old, by the way. It's like 6 going on 7 years old. And people still buy every single DLC for it. And that's how Paradox has exploited that as well. Because they damn well know you are going to buy all the DLC. You are going to want to buy Victoria 3 on launch. You are going to be buying the EU4 DLC. That's kind of the idea. They appeal to this micro community that expands out to other aspects, allowing them to grow. Because where else are you going to go? I'm the only one appealing to you. And it's the issue with you with ethical is that you need to appeal to a community. There must be more than a few people out there. But if it's people like, I just want a cyberpunk RPG, if you just say, I want a cyberpunk RPG, that's going to be kind of hard to do it. If you want to do a very specific cyberpunk RPG, then you get a little bit more. That's actually, ironically, why I do all the games I do. They appeal to, they're small, they're sprugs, single-purpose role-playing unitary games. Yeah, nothing changes, everyone looks the same plot, same joke, second verse, same as the first. Yeah, exactly. That's the current marketing strategy, and it works. The problem is people are now revolting against it. People are getting real mad about it. And trust me, every single game probably has something like that occur, or has like a follow the leader. It's, you know, has a kind of a follow the leader situation, because how many, you know, rules light narrative games came out after a big one? How many rules light new OSR games came out after Morkborg mega success? Probably a few that we just never heard about. That's why I am going to be appealing to Osprey's autism by giving them this game, Hymne de l'Ogre. You need to have a little bit of both. That's what I say. It's your setting must inform some mechanics, or the setting doesn't mean anything. That's always been my thing. If you have a setting but none of the mechanics back it up, doesn't really matter. If you have esoteric mechanics but not a setting to back it up, they're gonna just feel weird. Have you considered reaching out to Osprey before finishing the game completely? What this is, this is the plan, Victor Results. I want to get this game, the Redux, done. If I get the Redux done, I then send the thing out to Osprey. Be like, hey Osprey, I've written a thing. I think it's very good. It's up to a good place right now. It's not formatted really well. It's not pretty, but I have a guy I can rely on for this. Can I get your blessing effectively? You know, can we work together on this? And if we can work together on this, awesome. That's kind of like, I want to, like, by the time I reach out to Osprey, I want to have something at least cohesive enough to work, that I can then be like, okay, we're good, we good. And then, because I don't know how that process is even going to work. I don't know if, like, hey, we just, like, we'll pay for the artwork and we'll do, like, all the back end stuff so we have, like, a consistent thing, or hey, we'll give you people who are going to work with you for this because we're going to take like 50% or something. You're like, cool, yeah, that's fine. Now the thing, Napoleonic warfare, we're fighting, bang, bang, bang. You know what we can do? 1d6 time number of officers remaining. So it's kind of like the idea, like, it's not a lot, but if you have all 3 of your officers remaining, your commandant, and your 2 majors, it's going to be 3 to 18 men getting back up. Or if you only have 1 remaining, you're going to get like 1 or 6. That's kind of the issue. It's the medico supplies. Like, you were able to heal a little bit when normally you wouldn't be able to. It's just bringing men back up into the field. What are some other... Technically, I know what we can add technically with this. No, do we add the battalion band? Yeah, I already added the Italian battalion band, don't I? That's the BIP system, the attaché. Actually, you know, I could add in attachés. Yeah, if we add in the attachés, if we do this correctly, so let's go to the attaché, because attaché is a fun word to say. We do this. Not cannons. We do beat road. These would just be exterior equipment. Talk about that. Then we put you here. The attaché would be not. It would be. So a unit is far more than men and rifles. A unit is composed of multiple individuals. So... Okay, so... what we can do, we're going to make this a little bit easier to understand. We're going to do this. These are going to be our standard attachés. What I can do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you back down here. I'm going to put you here. You're going to be a thing. I'm going to put a note here, a note to fix. Put that up there, but we're going to go all the way back up here. These are going to be our standard attachés. Attachés, but do require a small amount of RQ to support and continue their service to the company. And continue their service. So you're going to do the RQ cost. And this is going to be RQ cost, unit type. Okay, so we're going to do flag bearer. You're going to have an RQ cost of 10. Unit type, infantry. Effects. They're going to allow you to not break under combat. Please do not die. I do not want you to die. Fanatic. Fragnatics. A unit take -2 cohesion damage along the flag bearer stands. The local guide. RQ cost 5. Skirmishers. Unit has a local guide. They don't take maneuver penalties in terrain. a space. That means musicians. Musicians. 10 infantry. We got musicians. Keeping men in line, motivation keeps rifles firing, enemy disoriented. Anytime cohesion is regained, gain 6. Spotter. Skirmisher. The unit has a man with a sole task falling on predicting the winds. The unit gains +1 range on all of their weapons. Yes, very powerful. Surgeon. So no, surgeon's gonna be company-wide. We don't need company ones right away. Here, company, flag bearer. We already have flag bearer. We're going to add in charges deal an extra d6 damage. I need another one for cavalry. Are we just the geeks that still are here after the mops and psychopaths have left the hobby? Hypothetically, the other Tencent buys D&D. Hasbro has to liquidate assets. What do they change? Tencent buys... Here's the thing. Tencent buys D&D. That means we're going to have China D&D. China D&D is going to be two things. It'll be D&D, but there will be no black people. It will be far more Asian. And it will probably, and everyone will have just bigger booba. Like, I can guarantee you that. And I say, oh, there will just be no black people. Tencent and China do not like black people. This is a known fact of life. That's just something me and you and everybody else have to kind of agree on. Why? I don't know. I don't make the rules. China it's just kind of a cultural thing. But yeah, like, I don't think Tencent would see no value in D&D. Wait, does it unironically become Oriental Adventures? To a degree. It would be still European fantasy, but the art style, the ideas behind it would shift. I would say shift to be a lot easier. But here's the thing. If there's ever a moment where Hasbro has to liquidate assets, which will never happen, by the way, they're too big. The D&D IP will most likely get picked up by a company like, most likely, if I were to be a betting man, the people who would pick up the D&D IP would not be it wouldn't be a company like Paizo, for example. It would not be even Games Workshop. Games Workshop has no incentive. Fucking oof, solid. Games Workshop, like, no game company could really buy it. You want to know who would buy it, McDrussel? This is the funny ending. Things like Disney. Disney would buy it. Even things like Warner Brothers. Pretty much, like, it would be a big media. It would be to give you an idea, it would be one of the big six. This isn't even the most recent one. It would be my guess anyway. God, this isn't even like the most recent one because Time Warner kind of got popped up recently. What would be like big six media company 2023? What's the big six currently? Pathfinder. Yeah, you know that. Yeah, student news. So the no, I don't want that. Yeah, pretty much. One thing you gotta kind of understand is that there are very few, like, actual like 90% of media cover of the media in the U.S. is controlled by 6 corporations. It would be one of them. It would effectively be a company or a subsidiary of one of these, or it would be another toy company. Let me see. It would, like, Asmodee. I could picture Asmodee picking them up, because Asmodee does a lot of board games and they have an incentive to do that. Let me see the big game, big toy companies, even like big toy companies. Let's see. MGA may probably, Bandai Namco. Mattel might try to pick them up, but Hasbro wouldn't let them do that. Yeah, like, yeah, there isn't. It's too big, and it'd be too valuable to control. That's the thing. It's too valuable. Funko buys D&D. Simple and clean. Yeah, no, it's you're getting the right idea though. It would be something like that. It would be another media company picking them up. To control the IP, not the game. They want to control the IP. My theory on that would most likely be a company would pick them up and then, like, license it out. Something like, because again, you gotta remember, BattleTech and Shadowrun are owned by a sports memorabilia company. You gotta remember that funny fact. Like, Shadowrun and fucking BattleTech, what we would consider to be, like, big ones, like, those are owned by, like, big companies. Like, even if, like, Bandai Namco were, like, to buy D&D, like, even like, you gotta even, like, think of, like, Bandai Namco is, like, a massive fucking company, and that wouldn't you kind of see all the shit that they own. Like, this would be a massive company that they would own. It would be, I don't think they would ever do that, because, again, why would they? If you look hard enough, they can probably find another Bandai Namco, subsidiary of Japanese games that they just want to do Japanese stuff. Zanzibarting becomes a core mechanic. It's D&D would be picked. My theory would be Disney. That's who they would probably sell to. And it would legitimately be Disney would license it out to whoever wants it. Relatively cheap, not super cheap, but cheap enough. Because Hasbro already has a lot of influence. Yeah. Again, like, Games Workshop has no incentive to buy D&D except to deny other people. That would be another thing. It's we buy D&D to deny another human being it. Which would be funny in its own right. Very funny. But yeah. That's the... Sorry if it wants to be a little bit boring in that, but that would be the kind of the case. Let's see. Mm. Let's see. The unit has a dedicated bugler who has the job of... There we go. Yeah. There we go. If you want to make a like legitimately just a staff, like a military staff, you know, cavalry officer, you pick up a bugler. You're not going to do a shit ton of damage. Not the point. You want to make sure everyone else stays in the fight. We do that. There we go. These are just some basic ones. We're not going to have you because we don't need you. And then we go back up to Tiller. Actually. We do heading 3 on the attaché. We do. We make artillery. No, we do make artillery heading 3. No. We make artillery heading 3. We put you down. Put it down here. Then we go back up. An artillery piece and guns come with its own crew. Most Ogre companies don't have formal artillery sections. Better known, wealthier ones have a small group of guns for needs. Firepower. Each artillery gun is listed on own price in RQ, which comes with its crew, ranges, and artillery. Certain guns have a minimum range represented in parentheses. These reflect the weapon's inability to complete ineffectiveness at closer range. Motors in our rocket artillery are able to fire indirectly, not requiring line of sight at a target. By a let's see, are not directly controlled. You know what? Yes, artillery pieces are not directly controlled by the commandants. Instead, the brigadier or another commandant will be directly ordering the artillery, directly ordering the section. However, when it is the artillery's turn, time to act, the commandants will work together with the commandant, the officers, the commanders, heirs. You're kind of like the players will decide where, when, and how the artillery will fire, suggesting the controlling officer, suggesting the commandant, commandant in command listens. So it's kind of like the idea, like, you are purchasing artillery pieces to be like background assistance. It's there to help you. And you are buying an artillery piece kind of together to have like, okay, cool, we have a little bit of firepower to assist us that are able to blow people to pieces or, you know, do something else. You, however, don't have much control over it. It's, okay, hey, we need you to fire on this. Please, God, fire. Please, God, hit. Please, God, hit. So, let's see. So, 4-pounders, 8-pounders, 12-pounders, 6-inch howitzers. Yeah. The howitzers are able to use shells and carcass shots. The siege artillery for like 24 pounders, 16 pounder. Mortars have just max range. They can no longer, they pretty much are forced to be firing. They don't have a minimum range. They only have medium range. Cannons often have 20 of the main secondary ammunition. Cannister. What am I doing? We're going to add in another funny thing because we can't escape tables. I will never escape the beautiful thing called tables. Sorry, little drummer boy. That boy has been shot, by the way. That is a child who has been shot by a gun, because welcome to the Civil War, everybody. Description, canister, reduce range by 2, increase intensity by 3. Yeah, getting shot by canister will kill you. If they're just gonna roll a absolute fuck ton of things and just to make your life miserable, okay? Carcass. No damage. Yeah, so pretty much you're not going to do any damage. Carcass shot doesn't do any damage. But whatever damage you would do is instead just effectively converted into cohesion lost, which is like, oh, ow, rockets. Negative 2d6 to fire checks. Round shot. Shrapnel. There we go. Welcome to the inhumanity of war, blah blah blah. Who fucking cares? Stop being a bitch boy. Have you ever considered just manning up, you know? Oh no, little Timmy's gotten his fucking leg blown off. What a shame. Ever thought about dodging next time, you little brat? What other ammo types were there back in the day? Yeah, the thing with Disney, you always gotta remember one thing with Disney. Disney looks purely at profits, and things like Treasure Planet and Atlantis didn't make money. Because they killed it, because they didn't like it. Because it wasn't family friendly enough. Disney is a monolithic corporation that does not give a fuck. Like, I do always respect them for that. They do not give a singular rat's ass. I'm like, damn. Actually, we can probably do 10 of any secondary ammunition. That. There we go. I need to... What I'm gonna do is, when I get down there, I'm gonna have to make a, like, yeah, this is the commandant, this is his fire rating. Like, I guess what we'd have to do. You know what? That reminds me. You know what we got? Training. What we can do is we can put down the training right here. Training, but we're not going to do, we're going to do fire pips. We're going to do fire pips, like artillery. It's literally just going to be artillery training, fire pips 1. Like, they're going to have 1 pip in firing. It's going to be fucking nothing. 2, 3, 4, 5. We can probably do 15 1535, if we do it by our, actually if we, 15, if we increase it by 20, so it'd be 35, then we do it by 30, so it'd be 65, and then we do it by, actually, double it, so it'd be about 100 at this point. It's like if you really, you aren't getting this a lot, there's a reason for this, because artillery are very valuable. Because the best way to think about this is having 5 fire pips right off the bat means that I take 5d6 for any of my attacks, and I roll. Oh, wowie zowie, everybody. I've hit someone with intensity 3. I've eviscerated somebody. They're gone. Like, getting an actual, like, artillery detachment is very good. Because it's artillery won wars. That's like why the value of things like, yeah, the mortar artillery is really good. Rocket artillery is really dangerous. Which, mind you, this is Napoleonic rocket artillery. They look ridiculous. They are so fucking goofy looking. Because you just fired these little rockets out. That's how they're so ridiculous. I love them. And they were somewhat effective. Okay, so congratulations, everybody. After 3 hours, we've managed to get to combat. But what I'm going to do is we are going to try something real fast. I'm going to go to itch.io. Hello, me. I'm so amazing. We go here. We go to Eagles and Rifles. Download. Just take me to the downloads. I want to use CS, because actually, no, I don't want that CS. Give me this CS. Notepad, what are you doing? I am downloading a character sheet. The form fillable character sheet. Yep. Technically, I should change these. But yes, this is the original character sheet. So, but what I'm going to do is, where is the PDF viewer? We don't need you. I just need to fill this out real fast. Going to fill this out to make sure everybody understands what's going on, to make sure that I'm not going mad. Let's see. So the unit name would be yeah, technically his skills aren't even correct because I split them up. Horatio Neves. So technically his fire 341 341. Skills, if we look at his traits, aristocrat's a philosopher and point trivia. There we go. We go down here to the fighting unit, blood and men, math and search, function of units. We want to do the men of Marco, the men of Marco. So, fire, let me see. Type of fighting unit, cavalry. 250. 0 battles, 0 casualties. 0, no nickname, motto. So if we go to our fire, we spent it on 75 cavalrymen. We are breaking this down. We are selected are hardened. So for hardened, we have 60 out of 60. 60 out of 60 cohesion. We have 75 fortitude, and we selected be regulars. This regulars for 30 RQ. That means we get 7 points. We want to do something like 3, 3, 3, 3, 1. We have 1 fire, 3 morale, 3 shock. Aren't going to break, but we're going to break them fast. So, because we are this, we have sabers, 2d6 DMG, 6 DMG, horseback, and we have chasers, plus 2d6 charge, plus 2d6 charge, and because we're cavalry, I know what I forgot to add. I forgot to add fucking horses, because I'm a dumbass, and I forgot horses. Start mount. Let's see, if we put melee weapon... No, we do this, we add this with mounts. I knew I forgot something. Knew I forgot fucking something. Generally speaking, there's only going to be... this would be, chasers, chargers... Types of... Ow. Okay. Got stuck on something, gotta rethink this. Mounts. Cavalry requires a steed. These iron-willed animals. Let's see, in the right hands, they will give the cavalry, soldier, give the cavalrymen a charge bonus, stamina bonus, and maneuver bonus. The charge reflects their bonus to making a charge attack across the field, breaking enemy formations. Breaking it and slaying men. The stamina and maneuver improve the base stats of the cavalrymen, allowing them to perform more actions or move quicker across the field. Now we do this firearm, we do this cavalry, so we're only going to have chasers, RQ per soldier, unit type. This is going to be our maneuver bonus. charge, stamina, maneuver. Don't really need to worry about traits necessarily. So because it's fucking. What would God? What do you fucking call these? It's Armored Regiment from 1, Alto ultimately 16, 14 Cuirass plus the Carbine and Cheval. A few decades. What kind of horses did they use? Tell me what kind of horses did they use? Tell me the horse. Horse. Horseman's pick, a type of warhammer. Branding was not used. Royal Horse Guard, men on senior branch mounted portion army retaining their status heavy. Big men on big horses. Wow. I would have never thought big horse breeds for big war horses. Big war horses. Tell me about horses, please. Mixture of heavy breed. I guess we can just call these like a heavy breed, charging breed. I guess these chargers would probably be heavy. What would be a fast? Because chasers aren't going to have. Chargers are going to have 0, but they're going to have a plus fucking like 66. You're not going to get any maneuver bonus. You're not going to get any stamina bonus. The thing is, you're crashing into the enemy with the intent on fucking killing them. That's the game plan, everybody. So we do that. What would you refer to a medium horse? What do you call a medium horse, everybody? Medium horse? Dragoon horse. Right. Pacers, Chargers. Want to be like a horsey horse. Fast, good horse that goes bang. Light. If we want to, I guess we can go in lore and just call them Cossin horses. Cossin horses are 1.5. You're a 4d6 bonus. You don't get a lot. Cossin horses are probably going to actually no. We can bump Cossin horses up. Chargers are going to be 1.5. But we can also bring in, if we want to, we can bring in the draft horses. We make these worth 1. Draft horses are 5. They get they get 1d6 charge bonus. They get a +3 stamina. They get no bonus maneuvers. We do that. How about that, everybody? Cossin horses, draft horses. Draft horses aren't shitty horses. Technically they aren't, but they're pretty cool. But don't gotta worry about it too hard. Don't think about it hard, because if you do, your head's gonna fucking hurt. Charges, chasers, Cossin horses are pretty much really fucking fast. Okay, no. Okay. Let's redo this. Cossin horses do not have very good charge bonus. They have decent stamina. They're really fucking fast though. Chasers aren't that fast. They got good stamina, good charge. They're the most reliable. Chargers are really good at charging. That's all they fucking do. They charge. Draft horses have a crappy charge, but they're cheap, and they are pretty much your standard, like, horse. Most people are going to start with chasers. Chasers have good stamina. They've got decent stamina. They've got a decent charge. They are actual war horses. Fun fact, these are actually war horses designed to hurt people. The draft horse, we'll make draft horse 1 even. The draft horses are not. They are farm animals that you are riding. Please do not use the draft horse for combat. I guess we can put in, since we're here, I'm Atanian. I guess we can do in, we do Imperial War Horses. We will do like a 2 cost, because costs in, they're gonna be like 5d6, they're gonna have +1 stamina. Actually, we'll say 2 stamina, 2 maneuver. They're probably the most reliable. They are one of the most expensive. They are not as fast as Cossins, though. Cossins are fast. There we go. There we are, everybody. These are our horsies. We like horsies, everybody. Horsies go nay. Horsies go nay. 'Cause they're horses. Horses are silly creatures. Horses are funny animals. They do the funny animal noise. Cavalry firearms. I can't put anything up together. All broken. Make you smaller. How do I get you to where I want you to be? Fuck me. Nothing's gonna work 'cause I'm in misery. Shadow-ba-doop, shadow-da-deep. It's your one fucking off and it's gonna drive me insane. I do this, like, it's a little bit janky, but it works. And that's all that matters, everyone. Remember that. That's all that matters. Technically, reduce you down to 20. Add more exterior equipment. I feel like I can add in like. I feel like there's like one more piece of exterior equipment I can add, but I don't know what it is. That's the thing. I don't know what it is. Attaches. Attaches are pretty simple. Artillery's a little bit weird. All right, everybody. We've officially hit combat. Good job, team. We're doing it. I knew something was wrong, and that's why I fixed things. Yay, ow. Oh, right. I'm gonna combat. Yeah, but first things first, we're gonna finish our character. Let's see. So we have 250 requisition points. So since we've got 250 requisition points, I'm going up here, and I want to make a character who is very good. So we have 30 RQ left. They aren't very good at doing much because so we have basic chasers. That's all we have. We have chasers. Since we have 75 men, I am not going to be investing in anything else. 75. Let's see. Actually, cavalry. We do have horse pistols. Do not forget, we do have horse pistols. We can probably see if we have 75 men and we need to outfit 75 of them. and we want to be efficient. We want to be real efficient. So let's see, 75 times 0.5, 37. We do not have enough for that. We cannot afford handguns. Breech-loaded carbine? If we can buy breech-loaded carbines. That's just about it, everybody. Oh, technically, what I should do is breech-loaded carbines. Because if we do standard breech loaders, they have... They got drill on them. That's the advantage. So actually, you know what? Let's add drill to the carbines. We'll add drill to the carbine, to the breech loaders. But nothing else. There we go. So technically, if I really want to, I could buy some... fucking breech-loaded carbines or muzzle-loaded rifled carbines. We're gonna buy some breech-loaded carbines. That's all we're gonna do. Not rifled, just actually, no. We're gonna buy... Because I can reliably... We're gonna buy muzzle-loaded rifled carbines. How about that? There we go. We buy some muzzle loaders, that means we have just enough to outfit our entire group. We're effectively, for a lack of a better word, we are designed to get in there, break them, and run the fuck away. Let's see. Cohesion, not cohesion. Courage. We have, what am I looking at? Cause I'm fucking dumb and I keep forgetting things. All the way up. Right here. Cavalry 5-4. If we have 5-4. 5-4. And that with our chasers. Go down to our horses. Our mounts, we have chasers, so we have a 2 to our stamina. Click on the right thing. We have 2 to our stamina. We have a total of 6 stamina. We have plus 2d6 charge. Charge bonus. There we go. This is the extent of our men. We are not actually very hardy. That's our problem. We have 75 men. We move very fast. We can do a lot of actions. But if we take a lot of damage, we're not going to have a good time. We are going to have the exact opposite of a good time. And we're consistently, if we're attacking at the right angles, we're going to be consistently rolling about 4d6. But we genuinely don't want to be doing that as much. We want to be charging, and we want to pretty much charge in, break them, and then immediately charge out. That's the goal. Okay, everything works there. Everything's working. Good. Okay, we're good. We're Gucci. We are gaming. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, war is hell. It is inevitable the brave will find themselves standing on the field shoulder to shoulder, facing down the enemy with rifle in one hand and faith in the other. Interlinear warfare is a two-sided affair of bodies and hope, where even the most steeled men can rout a disaster. Most poorly trained men can emerge victorious. Eagles and rifles. So we want to do Eagles and rifles. Eagles and rifles is a represent. How do I want to word this? Eagles and Rifles takes place at the battalion scale. The battalion and squadron scale. With the commandants following the orders of their brigadier, and in turn their patron, actually, and the general of the brigadier and the general of the operation. They will encounter other battalions and squadrons as they attempt to outmaneuver, outwit, and outlast the onslaught. The trial of victory. Victory comes to those. Victory comes to those who are left standing. Victory comes to those who are left standing on the field. The field at the end. Every operation has different goals and objective. The Ogre Companymen will need to fight, need to complete their objectives to secure victory. Should they fail? If I want to be a little bit more obvious, failure is not an option. Yep. Yeah. So it's kind of along the idea of like, you're being sent out there, you have to complete an objective of some kind. Like, you need to do a thing. You are trying to take a hill. You need to break this fort. You need to secure the other side of the river. You are a very small part of a much larger operation. To kind of give everyone kind of the scale of things, why I was actually kind of referencing Ultimate General as much as I was, is what is the scale of things? Nope, I didn't mean to click on that. Good scale. Come on, give me a good indication of what I'm looking at. Okay. To give you an idea of the scale of things, you are just this right here. You're Preston. You kind of see there, right there. You are just one part of a much larger operation. That's an entire unit there. So, there being like 1, 2, 3. This might be just the Ogre Company. It might be four battalions. But that's really it. Like, you're a much smaller part of a grander operation. It's like, okay, you're being sent in there to die. That's what they want you to do. You are mercenaries. You are people they have effectively hired to do something for them. Please, mercenary, die for me because I need you to do this. If you do not complete your objective, you are not getting paid. Like, oh no. Oh no, I don't want to be paid. Good times. Oh god. Okay, so Anatomy of Warfare. This is gonna be a little bit weirder. Okay, during the battle, when two opposing units come into range of one another, they will have the option of engaging in combat. What do I want? Okay. Let's break this down a little bit. Let's break this down a little bit. What do we need to do here? What do we need to do for combat? What's the first thing that we need to explain? What do you think is the most important thing to explain in combat first? Well, this is the anatomy. This is how people start shooting and killing one another. So if maybe we do orders in combat first, if we describe people what orders are doing, this is what's going on right now. This is how we're doing it. Then we move directly into the orders, which will do brigade orders. Then we do the commander actions. Actually, if we do orders and actions, then we move directly onto anatomy of warfare. Then we move on to dying and breaking. Then we talk about formations. Then artillery. Then combat situation. We do this. What's Did you ever see that Rhesus thread? What the fuck? What Rhesus thread? There was a Rhesus thread? Rhesus is cool. Like, right. Like, was there one on like TG or something? I don't see a Rhesus thread. As long as there is one. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god almighty. Let's do a quick check here real fast. I never saw this one. And probably probably a good idea. Let's think. I want to break this down. How do I want to break this down? How do I break this down to be elegant and nice? Because I do not know, because it's a weird idea. Okay, so there's two ways we can break this down. We explain combat, like how shooting and killing each other. We can explain how everything works and then do the specific orders, or we can explain all the specific orders and then break it down. Those are the two ideas. What are your guys' opinions? I'm rubber ducking now, please help. Let's because the thing is, like, the intensity scale is such an important concept. That's what I'm thinking of. Like, if I do this, where do I put this? Because yeah, like oh, you're suffering cohesion damage here. This is important. But like, where do you put this? Okay, so let's think. What do we need to do? So we can do option A. We do option A. Explain as you go. We do the explaining as you go. We do order in combat first, which I'm gonna have to break down the order in combat into the initiative phase system, which is pretty much like skirmishers go first, then this, then this, then this. That's kind of the initiative phase system. We do that, but then we kind of learn a little bit about like, okay, this is what is going on. Like, this is just a basic thing. You know, this is what the commander action is doing, how the commander's actions work. Then we're going to do unit orders, commander actions. Then we go back up, in which then we explain the anatomy of warfare, which is going to be combat actions. Actually, it's going to be fire. If I want to make this correct, if I want to make this sound right, it would be a fire. We call it fire and deliver. But that fire and deliver idea would be ranged combat, melee combat, fire and intensity scale. Actually, no, we do range combat, melee combat, the intensity scale. Because the intensity scale is fairly important in how the game actually plays. Don't want to like bury it too deep in there. Then we do formations. These are fairly important. Actually, we can probably put in in combat or intensity scale. We do formations. Put it up here for that, because formations give a bunch of bonuses to different orders. Formations go. Okay. Okay, what's going on here? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? How am I thinking about doing this? What's the game plan? What's the plan? What's the idea? What's the thing we want to? I've opened the book up. I opened the book. I want to learn how to kill somebody real fast. Flip, 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 flip. Find the kill button. Find the kill person table. This is what I need to roll. Why do I? Because this isn't a game that works like this. Has to be an answer. Where's the fucking answer? Gotta fucking know, because that's how it works. Cause I'm losing my mind, cause that's the funny part of fucking life. Show me the white books from Osprey, because Osprey keeps doing things like this. If we use the Osprey book here, if we use Chosen Men, this is just kind of like a very basic. So if we want to do not necessarily this, turn sequence, initiative phase, action phase. See, this is the beautiful thing, where like I am like legitimately just don't know what I'm doing. It feels like there should be a cohesive answer here, but I just genuinely do not know what the fuck it is. And I am losing my mind. I'm losing my marbles. I am going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Please send help. I don't know what I'm doing. I am insane. I am going crazy. Ha 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 ha. I'm so funny. La la la. Ha ha. Hee hee hoo hoo. Oh god, why doesn't it work? It's supposed to be easy. We explain all the concepts. That means we're allowed to... If we explain the concepts first, that means we don't have to go into much detail when we actually start giving the list of orders, divide. We have to explain how it works first. What is attacking? What is this? What is that? What is that? Very simple, very easy. Yeah, we gotta learn what cohesion is. Dying. Then when we get to the orders section, it's like, oh, this is how I restore cohesion. This is how I restore this. On the other hand, here's the thing. On the other hand, if we go under the idea that we start with the orders, we can then say, hey, this is what you can do, and then we explain the various intricacies of each of the orders. This is how this works. This is how this works. This is how this works. You can do this action, and because you can do this action, it informs your decisions later on. Does that even work? I don't know. I'll think on it. I gotta think on it. I'm gonna call it there. I've been doing this for 4 hours. Godspeed. Good luck, everyone. I will stare at this document. I'm gonna look at this. I'm gonna stare at this document and die on the inside because I'm trying to find the right answer to ordering the game, how things should be ordered to make things as cohesively interesting as possible. This is very difficult and there's no answer to this. God help. So yeah, video will be tomorrow. Well, video is not coming out tomorrow, but I probably will do the GDG case tonight. Set that all up for tomorrow. That's the big thing with tomorrow. I do plan it's going to be a rapid fire case for Wednesday. Not a rapid fire case, but a rapid fire video. Doing a few weird games. I don't think it's going to be a very long video. I'm aiming for about 4 minutes for 3 games because one does deserve a little bit more to talk about, but a lot of them are pretty small games, all things considering. As for if things get done early, which I don't really think it will get done early, but if it does, it does, because I'm going to be busy tomorrow. We may do something tomorrow night. I don't know yet. We'll play it by ear. Okay, cool. Godspeed. Good luck. I will see you all on the flip side.